Welcome in, everybody. Glad you're here. We have a good show for you tonight. Got some good friends here. Lots of good topics planned. I see Wesley and DB and Charles in the chat already. Good to see you guys. So, let's go over just a few things before we get started this evening. Again, really glad you guys are here. So, first, I want to start this this live off by thanking the Patreons. We reached 164 Patreons today, which is crazy. That's so many people. And so first of all, just thank you guys for your support. You guys are the real heroes of the channel here, and super grateful for your support. Yes, and Charles, glad you're doing better, man. Those respiratory infections are brutal. So we're also approaching 12,000 followers, which is, I don't know why 1,000 of you are following, but I'm glad you are. That's fantastic. We also got a big video tomorrow. You can see over my right shoulder. That is the one, the Argentinian 1911. Really excited for you guys to see that video. That's going to be a lot of fun. Also, it's Mother's Day tomorrow. Call your mom, please. Tell her you love her, and maybe send her some flowers. Take her to lunch. Also, we have a bunch of solid videos coming this summer. I see my good friend Jolly Roger is here. He's going to be a big part of that. He's coming back down to the Gunshine State here in short order. And we have legit pre-war Colts coming. Remington Rands. We're going to be comparing Remington Rands to the TSOS ASFs to ask how close are they actually. We have another buddy of mine, Ian, who's going to be coming down to Florida, and we're going to be comparing, I think, 5 decades of Colt Mark IVs and asking the question, what went wrong? And then we got new TSOS products coming out this summer as well, so it's going to be a very, very cool summer. And yes, watch videos. I see people talking about watches. Definitely got some watch videos coming out. One in particular that has a very bad beginning to the story. It'll be here Monday. I'll tell you guys the bad story. I ordered a watch that costs a lot of money for me, and I was sent an empty box, which made me want to shoot blood out of my eyes. So that was awesome. But anyway, without further ado, I want to welcome our guests. So tonight with us, we have a solid crew, man. We've got Chris with Muffin Top Tactical podcast. We did a video once together.
Yep.
And here we are. You guys are on screen. And so, yeah, we got Chris with Muffin Top podcast, and we have Matt. You guys know Matt from Wyoming Gun Project. Thank you guys for being on the channel and being on a live. And so we're going to do something a little different tonight, because normally I am at the helm. Today, Chris has the con. He is actually going to guest host the pod for this evening. So without further ado, I want to get right into it. We got a lot to go through. So Chris, you have the con. Thank you, my brother.
Thanks, sir. Sorry for speaking out in the first part of your deal. I didn't realize there was such a delay in when I was watching.
It's okay.
Whatever. So
you were muted. Nobody knew.
Oh, okay. Technologically not very savvy. All right, guys. Hey, welcome to the Muffin Top Tactical podcast. I am your host, Chris Loud, and I am here with Josh of the Old Path Traveler YouTube channel, and the man, the myth, the legend, my brother from another mother, Matt Wild of the Wyoming Gun Project.
The man.
Hey, guys, what's up, man? I'm really stoked to have you guys. My 1911 people, I don't get to talk to you guys, you know?
God's gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, who almost dropped an F-bomb. Yeah, the Lord's caliber, man.
That's right.
I'm really excited about it. So we got some stuff to talk about, gentlemen. I've been kind of watching I like muffins. What's up, homie? Blueberry. That's if you look at our guy on our YouTube, it's a tactical blueberry muffin with a machine gun and a AK bayonet of all things. But thanks DB 2A7. I just happened to see that one. But we all have a fondness for the TSOS. I mean, my background, I've grown up my whole life. My dad is one of the top 1911 gunsmiths in America. Dave Lauk, he runs DNL Sports. He's was inducted into the Pistol Smiths Guild. So my whole life, I've been growing up seeing these beautiful guns, mostly custom Colts. He builds his own frames now and stuff. But my whole life, I've seen these things come out. Then, like my whole life, is either a custom Colt or nothing. If it didn't have a prancing pony on it or a rampant Colt, it was trash. Tactical Tupperware is junk. You know what I mean? So with TSIS coming out, it's kind of upsetting the apple cart. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, listen, Matt and I have been lightning rods for all of the cultists.
Yes.
I think at least 5 of them have, what are those things called where you make like a little stuffed animal of somebody and poke it with little pins?
Oh, like a voodoo doll?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that a few of those exist of the both of us.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, man, Colt was king. Partly because they did a great job. That is true. They used to make way better guns than they do now. But also, the market wasn't full like it is now. I mean, I once did a list. Somebody said, well, there's not even 50 companies making 1911s. I said, stand by, bro. Just like by memory. Yeah, like, hey, dude, there's so many. So, but they still carry that legacy name, and people think they're the pinnacle, right? For factory guns. And, you know, TSOS has been in the game for about 13, 14 years, as far as I know.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my hands on really early examples, and I scoffed at them because they were bad. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
they were not good.
Yeah, they had MIM parts, and they were kind of trash.
Yeah. I mean, they were... Yeah. In fact, I remember thinking, this is like sub Rock Island. It was really bad. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to the past... Since 2023, I think they really... No, 2022. I think they really hit something special because now there's a few factors that make up what a quality 1911 is. First of all, it's got to be a 1911 John Moses Browning spec. Not Colt spec. John Moses Browning spec. I think that's really important because Colt spec has looked like the stock market over the past, 115 years. It's got to be that spec, original spec. You want it to be all forged. MIM's not the end of the world, but forged is better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, just having the gun being set up right. And at the end of the day, nobody is doing what TSOS does. Those guns are coming out, John Moses Browning spec, all forged, set up really well. They are a proper true to the spirit 1911, and they're doing it at a price that nobody touches.
So I seen a guy in the live chats mention I haven't had any problems with my Rock Island. So I just kind of wanted to address that. Like, have you ever pulled apart a Rock Island 1911?
Oh, yeah.
That thing looks like it's been chiseled, like with dull chisels. Like,
yeah, it's...
They're not... the internals looks like somebody machined them with a dull rock.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whereas the newer TSISs, like we've all seen in the inside, it's good machining. It's good machining, and
it doesn't need to be that good. It's like so good on the internals. It's kind of like
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
They're
if
like,
you compare it to like a surplus, a military surplus 1911,
Yeah.
it's better. It's
Sure.
finished better. It's machined
oh
better.
man,
I mean, you could see some deep machining marks in those military guns because they just needed to work. They didn't need to look pretty. They needed to
Right.
work and not rust at the first sign of moisture and ship them out the door, you know.
Now, I'm not saying that some of the Rock Island guns don't run. I've owned one
No.
Rock Island 1911. It ran, but it
It was rough. They're
yeah,
rough.
it was.
well, that's the thing you have to credit Rock Island with is they have one thing, and that is they run. And that's undeniable. I've never had a Rock Island that didn't work. Now I've had them break. I've had, I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but one of my Patreons, I didn't ask him to do this. He was just doing the old Mickey Spillane thing. He emailed Arms Corps and said, "Hey, so you guys forge your frames, right?" They said not only are they cast, but they're only spot heat treated.
Right.
Which is like even the cast frames, like a Ruger frame, something like that. Those are at least fully heat treated. But you know, look, Rock Islands run, but they're not true to spec. A lot of the parts are pretty chintzy. They are more prone to breakage in my experience.
Sure. Just because it's spot hardened.
Mm-hmm.
You look at a lot of like the pre-war or World War II built Colts, and even all the wars manufactured. They're all kind of spot hardened and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing technically wrong with that, but also it's not great. But I mean, when you're building them in a high demand, getting ready to storm the trenches of Normandy, you got to get guns in hands, and whereas thesis right now we don't have to do that. Like I actually just shot that Marsoc gun I bought off Palmetto for what is it, like 450 chicken nuggets. It's I was absolutely flabbergasted,
Right?
because I know old man, like Josh, you bought one. All you did is swap out the grips and let her rip.
Springs. Yeah.
Grips and springs. I didn't do nothing. I just literally pulled it out of the box, fired it up with some American Eagle 230 grain, and took it to the range, and I shot 300 rounds to it today.
Yeah.
And it like, I was like,
Lights out, right?
And it ran. All I did when I got it, I pulled it apart, threw some 5W30 synthetic motor oil in it, because that's what I've been running. Because like all the cool guy stuff, I had a little Lucas oil with the needle. I get that stuff free at shooting competitions. You always get free lube, but I was out of it, so I just bought a quart of 5W30 synthetic, and that's what I've been lubing my guns with lately.
Dude, that's what I have right here on my bench.
Yeah, I think it
Literally.
One.
What? You guys don't pay a lot of money for gun lube?
I've had this.
Oh my god!
I've probably had this for 15 years.
Heck yeah, you have.
Take a Q-tip and dip it in there, and it rolls.
Yeah, dude. Like, so, and dude, that Marsoc pistol shot. I have some of the best 1911. My old man built me a 1911 Colt, 1991 A1. That was my first Colt I got. Graduating high school, my mom bought it for me, and I didn't have my dad do anything to it. I took it to the range. I think I told you this story, Matt, one time.
Yeah.
I got it when I graduated high school. I took it to the range. I put a mag in it, and I went to drop the slide, and it jammed. And I was like, so I'm 18. I don't have a lot of extra money. I was working as a landscaper. I took it to my dad, and I said, "Dad, my Colt jammed." And he's like, "What's new?" Basically. And I'm like, "Dad, I don't have a lot of money, but here, can you do something to this?" So he did some basic. It wasn't pretty, but he did reliability work on it. And that thing, I called it Ethel. I shot that gun. That was my only pistol for like 10 years. And I bet you I put I'm no joke, probably 100,000 rounds to that thing. We used to chase down jackrabbits. I had a AR-15 and a 1911 pistol, and during that time period in Wyoming here, there was a jackrabbit pandemic or epidemic or invasion, whatever it was. You would spook them up 10 at a time driving through a field. They looked like Revenge of the Lepus. You ever seen that
Yeah.
old Alfred Hitchcock movie where the giant rabbits? They were like 40-pound jackrabbits running. You could hear them running. That's how big
There's
these
some
things are.
big
And-
rabbits out here.
Yeah, dude.
There are some big rabbits.
Yeah,
out
they're
here.
like when they stand up with their hind legs, they're up like their ears hit your armpits. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Depending on how tall you are. But you would spook them. Me and my buddies would shoot. We get so good at shooting these things. Eventually, it was like, okay, we shoot these things, then we got to go to like break action 223s, you know, and shoot them with that because we're shooting so much ammo. But I digress. I don't even know where I was going with that story, but like that, I own the nicest guns. Like my dad reworked that 1911 of mine about 10 years ago, hard chromed it. It's beautiful, dude. That you know, basic price Marsoc gun you get from Palmetto, that thing's smooth. You cycle the slide, you rack it. It does everything a 1911 needs to do, and it does it well. Like, obviously, if you want to get into it, I'm not saying it's as good as my 1911, but I'm not saying it's not good. Like,
especially for 400 chicken nuggets.
yeah,
roughly.
450 chicken nuggets. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't touch the custom work that I have into that. My custom 1911. Add
See,
another zero to that. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, man. Like that. This is what I've been trying to say for the past year and a half about these TSOS guns. Is again comparing them to Colt. You know, look. Who was it? The Buffalo Boar owner. He put out a video, or maybe he was doing a live stream, and he said there's two companies where you have a 50-50 shot of getting a functional pistol. It's Colt and it's Smith.
Smith & Wesson, yep.
Yep, and he's right, because look, I'm glad it happened to me where my Colt Mark IV video, 7 parts, that gun was a disaster. It was a abject disaster. And when you just look, I think the reason TSOS is so ascendant is, again, they're all forged, the guns are set up right, they're in spec, but you're speaking to one of the most important things, and that is the setup. Just simply having those springs, and this is something that I've noticed TSOS improved the past 6 months. They used to have their springs just completely jacked up. You know, these springs would come out of the box way too light, all this stuff. Now, the past 3 TSOS guns I've got, I'm like, I mean, I changed the recoil springs anyway because the springs they come with, they're not completely wrong. They just don't last as long.
Yeah, they're not like a Wolf spring or a Spring Toe
Yes.
spring. You know, they're, I don't know what kind of springs they are. So, and I know you talk about putting 16 pounds. I like 17 and a half, tomato.
Works too.
You know what I mean? My
Well,
old man always put 18-pound springs in his duty guns because it's got a cycle. You know what I mean? Especially when it's under duty. But tomato, we're not running junk springs is the big thing.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that TSOS is doing is they advertise that they're 16-pound springs. What they actually are is probably closer to like a World War II 14 and a half, 15-pound spring.
Sure.
But see, then here's the other thing that happens is they sit in the pistol under partial compression for a month. You take that spring out having never fired a round, and it's going to be an inch shorter. So, and that's going to happen anyway. But overall, though, the TSOS guns now, those guns are made better. They're made of better materials, and they are coming out of the box where I don't have to do anything anymore. And this, I've been building 1911s for 15 years. That's never been the case with any brand where it's they're perfect.
That's why I like this board to guys we're talking to right now.
Yeah.
Is I've been around 1911 my entire life. I'm 40 years old. My first gun that I carried on my hip when I was 11, I got pictures of me building a Colt Ace with my dad.
That's
customized
slick,
Colt
dude.
Ace. And so, like, the group of guys we have here are very intimately knowledgeable about the 1911. I'm not saying we're no Ken Hackathorn, but like we've shot a few.
Yeah.
We've had a few in our
Yeah.
And anyways, I didn't mean to cut in on there, Josh.
No, it's all true. I mean, I label myself a mechanic.
Sure.
I wouldn't label myself a gunsmith because I think a full suite gunsmith, they're going to understand machining, finishing. They can do things at such a high level. And I'm not there. But
yeah, they'll do a bunch of different guns and even wood.
That's right.
They'll do the stocks,
Everything.
diamond checker, all that refinishing, wood refinishing, turning, bluing. Oh yeah, you're right. They'll
Exactly.
do all,
And
true gunsmith.
the way I've always categorized that there's like 3 tiers of gunsmith. It's like there's your novice, which is like they can take the gun apart, put it back together, maybe change a recoil spring, whatever. I think level 2, sort of the mechanic, is where you can fit parts. You can change mainspring housings. You can maybe do a bushing fit, a barrel fit, a modified barrel fit. Doing a full like Burton barrel, no way. You can do
fit a new grip safety.
Yeah, like where you're actually taking metal off and fitting things together. And then I think the next level beyond that is where you're doing full-blown, a la carte, bespoke work.
Mm-hmm.
And that takes decades to master. And so I just try to be upfront about that. That's kind of, I label myself a level 2, basically.
I'm a glorified armorer. I'll tell you that. I guess I'd put myself as a mechanic, as like you said. Like my dad is a gunsmith.
Mm-hmm.
I shoot things and I can usually fix it when stuff breaks. But if I really need some real stuff done, I send it to my old man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's the gunsmith. I'm a glorified armorer, kind of a mechanic, and a Dremel hacker at the you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're kind of moving in this direction right now. So we all agree Thesis is great for the money. Like I tell a lot of people, I say when they ask me what 1911 should I buy, I say go on Palmetto.
Yep.
Google what's on sale. Like go to Black Hawk Armory or what these big gun sites. Usually they have some T-sauces for sale. Even those Thesis double stack 9s are pretty dope. I had one of those. I put a lot of rounds to it. I sold it because I bought a new Staccato because I'm that guy. But like Thesis is a great place to start if you're just getting into the platform. And also, if you want to buy a gun and you're like, I'm going to take a risk, I'm going to learn how to work on my car.
Oh, yeah.
So, like, you got 450 beans into this gun, you buy it, or 350, depends on when you get it. You got 350 beans into it. It's a low risk deal. Like, and you could learn how to fit a grip safety, learn how to change the trigger, put a new mag well, all this stuff, change the sight, learn how to pin into a front sight. You could do all this stuff, and if you mess it up, 350 beans. It wasn't a huge gamble. It's not like you ruined a Mark IV.
Exactly.
It's not like you ruined a government model. You didn't buy a Kimber, even though you should buy Kimber. But I guess there's stuff changing. But like you didn't spend, triple the money on a gun. You're risking, learn how to actually do a fitted, like modifying the frame to do a fitted beaver tail. Like, buy the
blend it. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and keep in mind, the reason you're so right, and I think what else makes it great is, so let's say I wanted to practice on, I didn't want to buy an expensive gun. Even if you go to Caspian, a Caspian frame is going to cost more after everything, tax, shipping, transfer, than a T-Sauce does. And you got a full gun. And so I say that all the time, that, man, they're the perfect gun to learn on. You know, and look, I mean, you asked the question, what do these other companies do better? When do you get to the point where another company's better? So on the factory level, you don't. I don't think there's another company doing it at the factory level. Now, when you get into custom, different animal. That's
different
a totally different thing.
You look at the Cabins, you look at my old man, you look at
That's right.
You know, Nighthawk. It's a different level.
Yep.
You're talking about a different animal. We're talking about going to your gun store and buying a reasonably priced 1911.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and these guns, what I qualify as factory is these are guns that are essentially parts box guns. These guns are not hand fitted, even though people believe this myth that all 1911s have to be hand fitted. That hasn't been true from the start. They had more fitting back then because they had much rougher machining, and so they could only get so close, and then they had to there was sanding, there was filing. Nowadays, you know, like Colt just put out this fantastic propaganda video showing someone assemble a 1911 as if that was impressive, and I called it. I said the only part that they hand fit in those guns is the thumb safety, and I said if they do, they have a jig where probably a female puts it in the jig, runs
a
file over it.
Grandma doing it.
Yeah.
They had a grandma doing it.
You
I
always see
watched
that
that
grandma in the
same video.
video.
They had a jig. They set it in there, and she ran across. She didn't file it, put it back in, checks. She didn't. I mean, she did a couple times, but
not for good feel, for function.
Yeah, for function. Did it go past?
Right.
Is it, you know what I mean?
And that's the case
dude,
with
I saw the same video. I was like,
yeah, that's the case with all 1911s on the factory level. Is these guns? There are parts boxes. People throw them together, do their function checks. Down the line it goes, and that really is the truest 1911s. It's a factory gun at its inception.
It's a combat arm. It's a combat pistol. You see, and I don't mean it. I mean, poor Matt's over here just nodding. I don't want to hear from him too, but like at the heart of it, you know, soldiers carried this, cops carried this, defensive marksmen carried this gun. It's not the myth of the 1911 as being this unobtainable. What? No, this thing was in the mud, blood, and the beer. It was meant to have interchangeable parts with other guns. Now, when you hit the next realm of hand-fitted custom guns, you can't really do that with. But also, that's a whole other animal. You're talking about a whole other animal. And a lot of people cannot see the differences there. Like, you can't put parts from a custom race car into your Corvette. It doesn't work. But you can put Corvette parts in another same year Corvette. Sure, because it's a production model.
It's a great analogy.
Does that, you know, they're totally different things.
I think the biggest problem with Colt, and Josh and I have talked about this, I personally believe the most important department in any factory, it doesn't matter what they're making, is quality assurance, quality control, because they are the final people to put their eyes on it and check, and they're the ones that let it out the door. So although I understand how factories work, if you're a QA Nazi, a QC Nazi, and you're sending stuff back, they start to get pissed. But ultimately, you're the final arbiter of what leaves out that door and what reputation your company, it depends on that. Mm-hmm. What reputation they're either destroying or, in Kimber's case, I didn't mention Kimber. I've said it for a while now, and other people are starting to say that too. They're on their redemption arc. They've realized they screwed some shit up in the past, and they're trying to fix it. But I think Colt, let's not forget, Colt was the only game in town for what, 40, 50 years? Maybe more? If you think about it, when they took the 1911, and then when did other companies start? I don't even know what the next company, but it was nothing but Colt. If you wanted a 1911, it was a Colt.
Pretty much, except for obviously during the wartime. You had other manufacturers.
I don't mean
it's totally different.
I'm not talking
early
about
on,
sure. Yeah.
Early on, Springfield helped them out too, but
sure,
those were super limited.
Yeah, it was just basically kind of like what happened with Glock 17s, the Gen 3 Glocks now.
And even afterwards, for the commercial guns, it was all Colt.
Mm-hmm. You look at all the old IPSC guys, like I can speak to you about this, Matt. Like it was all Colt. It was all Colt frame, Colt slides with hand fitting and different projects.
Colt, and it's so funny we're talking about this because I just saw a video on the M4 contract, and I don't remember the numbers, so don't quote me on these numbers. But basically, Colt was selling the rifles to the U.S. government during like GWAT. They had a sole source contract. So for people that don't know what a sole source contract is, they're the only person that can fulfill that contract. So in this case, Colt was the only company that could make M4s at the time. And I think I want to say they were like $550. They were somewhere in the 500 is what the government was paying for them. And then they started paying like 700s, and then they started paying like 900s, and then the Colt came back and said, "Oh, well, you got to pay 1,100," and they said, "Stop! This is ridiculous. FN, you can have the contract," and they gave it to FN. So I think Colt, because they were the sole source of 1911s for so long, and M4s and all this other stuff, they sat back on their laurels and they said, just keep crapping them out the door. And it's a bunch of things. And they had union problems back in the day. I used to hear from all the old head boomers that in the 70s, you would buy a brand new Colt and you wouldn't even fire it. I've heard this from several people when we used to stand around the gun counter before the internet came along. And they'd be like, and then they'd be like, you buy a new Colt, and the first thing you do is you take it to your gunsmith because you knew it wasn't going to run. Because there was a time in there when they had scabs building, because they'll have like walkouts, because I don't know if people knew this, but the UAW, the United Auto Workers, I don't know how that works, but the UAW is the union for Colt.
Really?
So they're paying super high wages, so I get that. And they're just not, they've had their issues, and then they've been bought out, I don't know how many times, just barely saved from bankruptcy, only off of their name, just because they were Colt. If it was any other company, like let's go down the list, Ivor Johnson, Savage. But by the way, Savage is not the Savage it was before.
No.
The Ivor Johnson that's out there is owned by some kind of foreign company. Yeah, Springfield Army was the government arsenal, and they smartly bought that name. So there's been tons of gun companies go out of business, and then people have either saved them or about to go out of business, saved them from bankruptcy, or then just bought their name when they went out of business. And nobody saved them, but they keep sweeping in and saving Colt, and people keep saying, oh, maybe I know I said it. I said, hey, I hope CZ turns them around because their quality control is complete garbage. And Josh is probably the worst example I've seen recently with that Mark IV, no rifling in the barrel.
I told somebody about that. They said, full crap. Like, there's no way it made it through. I'm like, my homeboy Josh, go watch the video. Like,
it's on video.
Seriously.
Yeah.
It's like, what? Like, are you kidding?
And not only that,
CZ, good
and
job.
In part 4, one of my FFL buddies sent me a picture of a Colt. He just got in, and he sends me a picture of the bore, no rifling. And then on top of that, there was another YouTuber who shall remain nameless, who did not want to interface with this issue because I don't know why. I'm not going to assume. But in his comments... I know why. Yeah, well, we do.
Maybe they sit on a certain board.
Yeah. But, in the comments on his video, there was like 4, because basically he said, no, Colt, they would never send a gun out with no rifling. And like 4 or 5 people were like, happened to me. And it's like, bro, listen.
Wow.
And this is the sad part. This is the part where we have to say over and over again, I want Colt to be the best. I want Colt to make everybody look dumb. I want them to be the king. And, man, they're so close because... Look, I mean, at the end of the day, it literally just takes one guy at the end of the line who knows just a little bit about what he's doing, who could completely turn their reputation. And the reason I know it's possible, I don't know if you guys can see this. See those 2 guitars on the wall?
Yep.
I've talked about this before, PRS. There are like 25 signatures inside that guitar when you take it apart. The level of QC, a lot of people call it a waste of time how much they QC their guitars. They're the most consistent product you can order on the internet. They're more consistent than a bag of Cheez-Its. And these guitars show up perfect. I've bought like 30 PRSs, sight unseen. They always show up perfect. So when people say a factory can never QC at that level, I'm like, yes, they can, because they're doing it. PRS does it.
And then if something weird does happen, Josh, that video I sent you where that guy's guitar faded, they reached out and they're like, dude, send it back now. We will fix it. And it was like, don't quote me, but what was it, like 8 years after he bought it?
Yeah.
And they sent it back on their dime, refinished the whole thing, sent it back to him, and it was beautiful.
Listen, I've had that happen
That's the way you do it.
I've had that happen with PRS where something showed up and it just wasn't quite right. They like cut you off and they're like, no, stop, send it to us. Let's send, like, they're so eager to do the right thing.
You didn't have to sit on hold for 30 minutes.
No.
Talk to somebody that doesn't even know what the heck you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then,
Yeah, so when people say that level of QC can't be done, I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about, because companies like PRS proved that completely wrong. And
Hold on. During World War II, didn't the inspectors have to stamp it? They had to put their stamp on that gun, every gun.
Yep.
Now there was a bunch of different inspectors at different factories and stuff.
Sure.
But
they checked every.
That's a great point. But the position existed.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a great point.
And every little part on those military guns, like if you look at the slide stop, it'll have an H in there somewhere. Bang! There's little letters and symbols all over those guns where they went through the different checks, and then at the end of the line, that inspector, they become famous now because collectors look out for certain inspector marks, and bang, they put their inspector mark on there, and out the door it goes, into a box and out the door. So, and listen, Colt is an OG, right? They're the original 1911 folks. But you got to be careful not to sit back on your laurels and be like, yeah, but we're Colt. Yeah, but you're screwing up. You're Colt, and we want. It's like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a heavyweight boxer who's way past their prime. You're like, just retire, bro. Dude,
well,
we remember what you were like back in the
Mike
day.
Tyson came back and fought that jobber YouTuber. Like, but I'd argue that he took a paycheck there. He could have knocked whatever his name's head off. But no, I absolutely agree with you, Matt.
Everybody I talk to that's into 1911 says, amen. We just want them to do better.
That's it.
That's all better, bro. Live up to your name. Live up to Colonel Sam Colt's legacy.
Listen, and it's not like all of us are sitting over here without Colts. I've got 3 sitting behind me. I've got 4 more in my safe, so I don't want to hear that.
I've got 4 in my safe.
Last time I checked, I owned 14 Colts.
Right.
1911s. I think I owned 5 of their ARs.
Yeah.
Or 6. I don't even remember.
I just bought 3.
I like Colt products.
Yeah, I just bought 3 of their magazines. Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I like it's just that it's the Q. I think it's the QC, man, because if your QC was on point, nobody would ever know how bad the factory's screwing up.
Yep.
Because they could do missteps all along the way, and at the end, if the guy's like, "No, send it back and fix this. I don't want a customer to get this gun."
Now
it's not just ship them out the door, and it's not like every gun you get, because you always get this. I know Josh does, and I get it too. Well, mine's fine, or my uncle Jim Bob had one back in the day. It was we never had a problem, so that must mean they're all correct. No, it's an alarming. No, it's in my opinion, and I know Josh shares this opinion. It's a larger than normal number of guns. It's not every one of them. It's not. I've gotten out of the 14. I think right now, I've gotten 3 that were cosmetically
going through right now.
Yeah,
I'm not saying every SIG shoots themselves.
No, right, same shit. But I think I've gotten 3 or 4. And a lot of the times for Colt, it's the come out of the box with cosmetic issues. Which yes, a lot of people go, you could fix it. I shouldn't have to, and yes, I will fix it. But I'm looking out for the guy that's buying their first 1911. They were told, get a Colt, man.
You're looking out for me.
For the guys who don't.
18 years old, dreamed of owning a Colt 1911.
First 1911.
I jam a mag and I let
and
that slide release, and it just goes
you're like,
book and right into the feed ramp, and it stops.
And you have a broken heart. Your broken heart after the very first 1911 I ever bought was a Colt officer's model, a 1991 officer's model. And it was in 95, I think. So yes, I love Colt. I've been around Colt all the time. They just they're not putting out products that is at the level that their brand demands. And let's not, two things I think, and then you guys can talk about some of those. Let's not dismiss how much price plays in the game, and that's one of the reasons TSOS is doing so well too, because price is a huge driver a lot of times, but also brand recognition and name. People will pay more for brand recognition, even if the product's not as good. For example, Josh was talking about watches. I have Rolex, I have Grand Seiko. I'm here to tell you right now, the Japanese can build a watch. Grand Seikos, if you really dig down deep, a lot of people will be like, yeah, I think Grand Seiko builds a better watch. And they're thousands and thousands, in some cases half the price of a Rolex. Because it's one thing, and not taking anything away from Rolex, but remember, Rolex is a tool watch. And Rolex has done an amazing job at marketing. You go all over the world and people know what a Rolex is. Even people that aren't even into watches. You ever heard of Rolex? Of course. You know, so marketing is huge, and Colt is still riding on their name. And I guess they just won another contract too for a bunch of rifles, by the way. For I think Lebanon, a couple of different countries, like 400,000 rifles or something like that. I think it was.
And they're in a development project with the U.S. about something, and I mean, you know, going back to the TSOS thing, and this is why. I mean, you really hit it. Now, I don't know if that was you and I that talked about this or one of my other friends, Matt, but you know, we talked about how like you can get like what's the Colt Classic going for right now? Like $800?
If you get it on deal, you can get it $798. They usually hover around $849 is an average price.
Okay. So you got like let's say $850.
Yeah.
And then you've got like the Springfield Garrisons, which seem to hover around like what, $650, somewhere around there?
Yeah, $657, somewhere around there, yeah.
And then you got TSOS, and they're doing better than everybody else in the sub $1,500 category.
Yeah.
But that is going to be a problem for TSOS. If their prices go up, people are going to go.
That was you and I talked about that.
That was, yeah. They're going to go, I'm within striking distance of a Colt. What's the point?
Hold on, because I remember this conversation we had, because I just saw the deal again. I just got a PSA email. Springfield Armory mil spec, $599.
Yeah.
With a bag, 3 mags, a holster, all kinds. It's like,
a lot of people.
I think some of these companies are looking at what TSOS is doing and like, we need to rework our homework.
Oh, you bet they are.
Yeah. Yes,
because you got YouTubers like YouTube. I'm not really a YouTuber yet. I do a podcast that's reasonably successful, but like I've been preaching TSOS a little bit, and you got these YouTubers, and you guys aren't the only ones. There's many people that are saying this, like, so like Colt and Springfield. You said Springfield. They're like, we need to figure this out, because this Turkish brand has touched a lightning rod. Because guess what? I had Eli Duckworth on my podcast, and we were talking about the American spirit. The single action 45 auto is uniquely American. It's manifest destiny. It is sitting on the side of a hill watching a sunrise in the west. It is core. It is fighting off the Hun. It is storming the beaches of Normandy.
I love
it.
The
1911 will go nowhere. This is my diatribe about the 1911. That's why I got goosebumps thinking about the 1911. You got John Moses Browning handcrafted this thing.
He killed
in the West. This dude was like 1911 has been a love story for the United West from its inception.
And I agree with you. But you have to look at it from this perspective. I 100% agree with you. So why isn't Colt on board with that? Colt is the one failing.
Because
it's on Colt to be
owned by a corporation.
Yeah.
Don't give a crap about us.
Hold on, but
we
this
want
is
to
very similar to the American car market in the 1970s.
Yeah.
When the Japanese started to come in,
Mm-hmm.
the Japanese were doing it better. Now remember, I'm in my early 50s, so my grandparents were boomers. My dad's a boomer. I remember growing up that we're just 2 decades out of World War II, basically, and you had a lot of veterans. I remember when I was younger, growing up, you had a lot of veterans that really had a hatred for the Japanese and Japanese products, and they were die hard buy American.
Because they just came back.
They die hard buy American, but guess what? The Japanese American cars were big, they were gas guzzlers, and they were breaking down. And Detroit was like, this is what you're going to get. You either buy it or don't. We don't give a crap. So the Japs came in and they said, hey, we'll sell them a lot cheaper, and they'll go a lot longer, and they're built better because Japanese have crazy QC. The Japanese build a lot of good stuff.
Sure
they
do.
really do.
Sure.
And so, and
I don't own an American-made TV. I don't know. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
You know, I don't.
So it's American
if it was one
manufacturing for a whole host of reasons across the board. American manufacturing has killed us, and I'm all about America. I was in the Army. I served the country. I love America. I'm American.
Yeah.
But I gotta be honest though, and I think in this case with TSUS, the Turks were like, okay, we put out this 1911 with MIM parts. It's junk. Back in like 2010, 2012 when they first entered the market.
Yep.
People were like, this thing's junk. Because I saw some old videos on YouTube about it pop up when I started doing a lot of TSUS videos. And then they were like, all right, back to the drawing board. What do we do? Where is the American 1911 market failing? Okay, everybody's using MIM parts or cast parts on production 1911s. Let's go forged. How do we do? Let's do John Brownie's. Let's do that. And SDS Imports helped a lot because remember they had that guy. I spoke to them. They had that guy that lived 9 months out of the year in Turkey with them, and he would tell them, "Hey, this is what the American market's looking for. This is a price point that it's got to come in at." So, getting back to what Josh and I talked about, if TSUS now going, out on its own, if they start to say, because I heard rumors, I don't know if it's true, it's just rumors. They did not like the prices that their guns were selling for. They thought their guns are worth more than they are. And I agree with them. They are worth more. However, I don't believe they built up the brand recognition yet because casuals who aren't autists or aren't 1911 autists like us, casuals will say, I'm going to buy a Colt. What 1911 do I get? Yeah. Colt, Springfield, even Kimber. And getting back to that, I don't know if I mentioned this. I've seen Kimbers now, like stainless 2s and CDPs, all the $5.99. So Kimber, just like you said, Josh, they are bringing them. They are seeing what's going on and bringing them down. And if TSUS comes up to meet that, I got to be honest with you. Even me, I would be like, yeah, I think I would probably kick in a couple hundred more for a Colt than another TSUS. And I sold a lot of them. And here's why too. When I went to a local, this was last year. I went to I'm not kidding you guys. At one point I had like 55 1911s, I think it was, something like that. And like 22 of them were TSUS. So I was like, I got to clear some of this stuff out, get some money. And I was buying different guns, new guns for the channel to review because I don't get guns sent to the channel. Excuse me. So I went down to a local gun store down here and sold a bunch of them. Like I said, I think I sold like 22, whatever it was. I sold a bunch of them. I still have like 6, I think. But the lady was like, the lady that ran the store talking, and she's like, if you have any Colts though, let me know. Let me back up a little bit. I forgot. The TSUS didn't draw a lot of money, okay, for used guns. If you pay $300 for a gun, they want to give you $100, $125 for the gun because they got to resell it for a profit, and I understand that. But she said she was like, "Hey, let me know if you have any Colts you want to sell," because I was talking to her, explaining the whole thing. Because I got guys on speed dial that all I got to do is call them and say I got a Colt in, and they buy it over the phone. Hold it for me, I'll be right down. It's just like that. You got old boomers that are all on Colt, they don't care, and Colt gets a higher premium. If I buy a Colt for $1,200, I can probably get $800 for it. So just on resale alone, because of their name, for an extra $100 over the TSUS, if there was any chance that I ever plan on getting rid of it, I would buy the Colt.
Yeah.
And I would buy the Springfield too. I would. I'd be on it. Not taking anything away from TSUS. They make great
No, it's
guns.
true. Well, and here's the thing. Talking about the casuals, you know, if it were me, if I'm looking at a Springfield mil spec and a TSUS for the same price, because of what I know, I'm still going to go with the TSUS because it's a better made gun, better materials, better processes, better setup. But you're right. For the casuals, they're going to go, I want the American 1911, right? Like
Kyle shot a Springfield.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it has the name.
Yep.
And
Got a TRP.
And let's not forget, not that gun store employees won't sell whatever, but you could get a counter monkey, we used to call him back in the day, a gun store, a gun store employee who goes, oh man, I've heard it. I have been on the other end of these conversations. Oh man, you gonna get a 1911? You got to get an American one, man.
Yeah.
We got a Colt. They try to upsell you anyway because there's more margins in the Colt. So for a lot of people that don't know, there is not a lot of money in selling guns. There's not.
It's true.
When I used to hang out and help out at this indoor range and gun store in Virginia, at the time, their markup was 17%. So for every $100, they would make $17 profit. So if their dealer cost was $500, okay, on a Glock, they would turn around and sell it for $585 because that's a 17% markup. The $85, they would only make $85 on a $500 Glock. So there's not a lot of money in there. Now, the more expensive you sell the pistol, so let's say you sell it for $1,000, or let's say it cost them $1,000, they just made $170 because that's a 17% markup. You see where I'm going? So they'll try to upsell people a lot to more expensive guns, and they'll go, oh man, if you want a 1911, because they have the attitude that Eli has, and not saying that it's bad, but if it's got to be American or nothing. So, and a lot of people get
Eli Duckworth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I see where he's coming from.
Sure.
No,
Which can I interject? I just got to say, my first exposure to Eli, and this video is still up on my X account. It's way back on my X account. But the end of one of his videos, where he was basically just punching in the face all the complaints about the 1911, where he's like, it's too heavy? What are you talking about? Wear real pants and dress like a man. I'm like, that was him. That's Eli at his best. And I think I said on that post, right into my veins. I'm like, so I love that. What I do love is he does a great job of carrying, keeping the spirit on that side alive.
That's where I got Manifest Destiny. When I had him on my podcast, that's part of my soliloquy a little bit ago, was literally what he was saying. And when he was talking to me, dude, I had goosebumps. I'm like, that's what it is.
And he's absolutely right. You know, and that's the thing. I have that deep in me as well. If I start talking about that stuff, like, look, I'm that way. I'm very much how he is with guitars. I've got 2 or 3 Martin guitars. Mm-hmm. I know somebody overseas makes them better. I don't care. I want a Martin because those have been made in freaking, those are the guitar, right?
Yeah.
And so I actually have the exact same makeup, just in a different way.
Sure.
And this is why I want Colt to be the best, because I'll pay the money.
But the reality of the situation, and we're all three on the same page, and I think a lot of people in the chat are on the same page. The reality of the situation is, you get all hyped up for that, because I don't carry water for any company. I don't care if they're Americans or not. If you're failing, I'm going to say you are failing, and the Turks are whipping your ass. But the problem with that is you just got all hyped up and goosebumped and everything and hyped, yeah, America, woo! And I'm carrying the flag and all this, and you run down to the gun store and you buy a Colt, and you're like, wah, wah, wah. Right. You never meet your heroes, and you open it and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? Yeah. America. And then you go buy another one, and you're disappointed again, and then you buy, like DJ Khalid, another one. I keep buying them, and I'm the idiot. Don't get me wrong. I'm the idiot that keeps buying the darn thing.
Now, here's what's funny, though. I think it was my good friend. He's here in the chat, Jolly Roger. He said it this way. Yeah, he's great. You need to have him on a
yeah, he's cool, dude. I talked to him.
Yeah, he's fantastic. We become great friends.
Yeah.
He said it this way, that Colt can do it right if they want to. And here's the
Yes.
proof. My Colt pre-war, I've got one of them sitting right back there, but the pre-war reproductions, they're perfect.
Cherry.
They're flawless. I mean, like, there's nothing to criticize. Every part of that gun is perfect, and I own 2 of them. I've held 10 of them, 12 of them, and every single one is perfectly consistent. And so, now, granted, those did go through their custom shop.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the problem, is they need, some hands. But look, where I think Colt could turn the corner, look, I do videos all the time where I get in a gun, and sure, even T-Sauce, they show up where it's like, I got to do a little tweaking. I have to talk a lot to extend how long the video is, just because I want people to get a lot of detail. But here's the reality. I could sit at a Colt bench, and it's like, okay, their slide stops sticking. 4 seconds it takes to fix that. Or
Sure.
the thumb safety is crunchy. 5 seconds to fix that. The sear has a big burr on it. 2 seconds. Like, having somebody who knows what they're doing at the end of the line, or 2 guys, 3 guys, where every pistol goes through their hands and they're just touching it, they would revolutionize the investment. Let's say they invested 100. Well, let's use a fully burdened labor rate, and let's say $300,000 a year for 3 employees. Okay, I'm kind of going wild, right?
Yeah, 100 grand piece.
Yeah, and that's a fully burdened wage, meaning insurance and everything like that. If they invested that a year for just 3 guys, right? So you got good coverage, multiple shifts, all that stuff. And all these guys do, I'm not talking about customizing them, fitting barrels. No, I'm saying, like, don't let a gun leave with no rifling.
Yeah.
Don't let a gun leave with a bunch of burrs hanging off of the sear where there should be a relief cut. Don't let the gun leave where the thumb safety is so difficult to actuate that it takes 2 thumbs to push up. Don't let a gun leave where the grip safety has burrs, so when you put your hand on the gun and then let it go, it sticks. Like,
Yeah.
And everything I just described was on one gun. And by the way, I counted, there's like 6 proof stamps on that gun, meaning 6 people let that gun go through their hands.
And
Yeah.
We're coming up on 57 minutes.
Yeah,
and
go
I
for
love
it.
you guys. So we're not ending the stream. All I'm gonna do is hit stop record and re-record on my end, because re-recording my podcast is usually an hour long. Dude, we can wax poetically for more than an hour. So since I'm at the con of this, quote unquote, we're not ending the stream. I want to leave that don't leave, guys. Everybody that's on the chat, stay. We got plenty more for you. Josh, why don't you tell us where this is just the outro. You guys are seeing behind the scenes of podcasting. Josh, tell us where we can find you
Yeah, definitely, man. Thank you for doing this. And you can find me, Old Path Traveler, on YouTube, and pretty much on all Instagram and X, Old Path Traveler. You'll find me.
Cool. Mr. Matt, where can we find you?
Yep. Same thing, Wyoming Gun Project on YouTube. And I think it's on X, although I haven't been there for a while. Excuse me, and Instagram. So
cool. And you guys listening to me, Muffin Top Tactical Podcast on everywhere podcasts are found. Apple, Spotify, Amazon, all that crap. And find me on Instagram, Muffin Top Tactical Pod, or is it podcast? I don't remember. Just type in Muffin Top Tactical podcast, whatever, on Instagram. Chris Lauk. You can find me. Love you guys. And with that, guys, buy a 1911. Have some fun. Keep learning and keep shooting. And we're back for the after hours, guys. So see how quick that was? The magic of editing. We're doing another hour. So
now, even though you said nobody leave, 3 people were like, I guess that's it. And
I guess that's
just
it.
left.
Yeah, I saw that. So don't leave. I try to make it very clear. Do not leave. We're just literally, I'm punching a button and hitting it again. That's all it is.
That's funny.
So, well, I know we were talking a lot about thesis. We can do another 2 hours on it. It's such a interesting quandary of a problem we have in the gun space right now as being, I don't mean to stick my hand in the camera. It's an interesting problem we have as an Americans. A Turkish company kind of flexing. Let's move past it. Like a lot of our people, a lot of us have heard us talk about this ad nauseum for hours and hours.
True.
So let's move on and like building them. So I was wanting to kind of touch on, but we kind of touched on it. But like, so building it by a thesis, and then you build it. Like there's legitimate reasons why some of these custom one-off guys, like my old man Cabot, Nighthawk, hand tuning, hand fitting these guns. There's a reason why the price tag is above and beyond what you buy a $1,500 gun. You know, if you're getting up into $2,000, $3,000 guns, it's because they've hand touched, hand filed, hand done all this stuff. Like I've talked to some people that are like, there's no reason why you should buy a gun that expensive. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Matt or Josh?
Yeah, I mean, look, I did a video, back in February, where one of my Patreons, and he's one of my moderators as well, and a friend, his name's Matt, he found a beautiful Colt Mark IV stainless, new production, and he basically bought a bunch of, I think he went solely with Harrison design parts, and he asked for the gunsmith option, which means nothing fits. And and so basically he sent it to me. And by the way, this is not a service I offer yet, but I do it for friends once a year because the ATF is dumb. So anyway, he sent the gun to me, and man, I fit a new bushing. I think we kept the stock barrel. We did a new thumb safety. We cleaned up the internals. You go down the list. I don't even remember everything we did. Took me 3 days of work. And it's because particularly with like that thumb safety, that's not thumb safety was 8 hours of work, because it's like the drum's too big. The gap between the plate and the drum is too close. The three little angles on the drum are all too high. You have to touch everything, and it just takes a lot of time. And so when you're getting these custom guns, people hear me talk so passionately about factory guns and these more affordable guns, and they think that I'm anti-custom. And I'm like, listen, if you got the money to spend, these guns are perfect. Like,
oh yeah, dude.
There's nothing like, and look, I've had exposure and actually had in my possession a lot of custom guns. The more of the menu custom guns like the Browns and the Wilsons and all those. The Nighthawk GRP was probably top of the list. But yeah, these guns, every single part is just as perfect as they can get it, and then they make it look really pretty, and they're absolutely worth it. And it's just a different animal, man. And what you're paying for, the steel is not steelier. The parts are not partsier. Yeah. You're paying for labor.
I call it voodoo. The voodoo factor. Like when my old man builds a gun, you're not paying for a steelier steel, harder steel. You're talking about 40, 50 years being a street cop, building a gun, knowing that shit runs, relying on this stuff on his hip. I didn't mean to cuss.
It's real stuff right there.
People put it on your hip. Navy SEALs carrying these guns. He's literally got guns in Navy SEALs' hands. Like, that's the voodoo you're paying. You're paying a Cabot gun for the voodoo. Nighthawk for these voodoos. And you'll never hear my dad ever talk trash on another custom gun guy, because guess what? He can't build custom guns for everybody. He's a one-man, one gunsmith. Nighthawk can't build custom guns for everybody.
Right.
All these people have their customers.
That's true too, because a lot of these companies are 18 months to 2 year waiting lists.
Sure, dude.
So, and that's every one of them, from Wilson Combat to, Les Bear to all of them.
And then you got the guys like the Volkmans and the Burtons.
Yep.
They're like in the freaking stratosphere. You're talking 16 grand for a handgun.
Yeah.
But it's made out of some weird metal that came from a freaking asteroid. You know what I mean?
It's unicorn horn and meteor. Yeah,
yeah. And that stuff is so cool. But like I want to tell people, like, the reason why I bring that up, like, I built my unicorn anti-government Model T. I literally went over every part. I replaced it with Wilson Combat, custom fitted. I sent you guys pictures of it. And then I drove it 2.5 hours to a finisher, had him refinish it for a $350 chicken nugget base frame. I spent hours reshaping the frame to put a fitted grip safety on it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm saying, like, can I kind of almost be in almost a realm of my old man? Because so here's where it comes from with me. I remember my dad used to put me in a box in his shop so I wouldn't be around all the burrs and the off of his lathes, because all I want to do is be around Dad. I'm 2, 3, 4 years old. He'd say, stay in the box so you don't get metal shavings in your hands and feet. And I remember particularly when he's would be hand checkering a front strap on a 1911, because he always clipped his keys on a key ring. I can hear the keys when he's doing the it's just it's an ingrained deep memory in my brain of that happening. So me being able to being at my workbench, rounding off the safety, was kind of touching on a primordial, fundamental memory of mine, seeing
it's
my
in your
dad
blood,
do
dude.
that. You know what I mean? It's there. And I would say it's kind of in every American's blood. Like, I think everybody should build a gun, whether you're building an AR. You're building to buy the parts, put it together, as long as it's safe and it passes all the tests, shoot that sucker. And if it don't work, guess what? You just got yourself a cool puzzle. Figure it
That's
out.
right.
Because we have this thing called YouTube and Rumble and all these places where people are like, hey, I found a problem with what I was doing. This is how I fixed it. Guess what? It's just like being a mechanic on your car. You type in a 2013 Tahoe, how do I change the fluid reservoir sensor? Boom, some dude's got it on there. And you can see how to do it. And then you get it tried. You get that self-accomplishment of, I fixed this son of a gun.
Yeah, man.
I fixed it. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Anyways, that, like, building these custom guns, or quote unquote, like my unicorn gun, I would call it custom because there ain't one of them. But everybody I've showed it to is like, wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like,
It is cool.
So
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I'll be honest with you. That's a big reason why I started my channel, is I wanted to demystify what you just said. I wanted to show people that if I can do it, you guys can do it. Like, a lot of this, it's just thinking mechanically. It's really not. People sometimes think of gunsmithing, and there is a level, again, where it's in the stratosphere, okay? But a lot of it, it's just like, it's the same mystery that people have, the fear that people have about working on their vehicle. They're worried they're going to break something irreparably, and they're out of money. They're in bad shape. And look, on my Patreon, we have a chat called The Workshop. That's what it's there for. Is like, hey, who was it? Wayne Novak, who said, grab a file and break something. That's how you learn, man. Where it's like, just try. You got to try.
My old man got to where he was without doing some stuff.
There's got to be a mountain of steel behind him.
My dad was 16 years old, bought a Colt M16, SPO1. He hated how high the sights were, so he literally hacksawed the before flat tops, he made a first. Probably, I'm not saying he was the first, but he was definitely among the first to make a flat top AM.
That's cool.
Because he did it on a farm in South Dakota.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that. But
that's legit.
Get a file and break something.
Yeah, no, and it's so rewarding, man. Like one of the first things that I ever did, as hardcore as I am for T-Sauce, I used to be that way for Springfield. Because back then it was them and Colt. Everybody else was just playing games. You know, it was like in the early 2000s, they were the only two that were like kind of serious at the factory level. And yeah, I'll never forget the first time. And I still have this Springfield. I'm so glad I kept it. I did, I bought the Ed Brown jig so you can round off the back and install their beaver tail. And when I first put it on it, and it was like, boom, it went together perfectly. It still gives me chills. It was such a beautiful moment. Or the first time, you fit a bushing and it feels like it's welded in there and it's just so fun. It's so rewarding.
Well, and I think a lot of it, I look at it like, because we all are either Gen X or I don't know how old you are, Josh. I'm an elder statesman millennial. I'm 40. 1985 was the start of the millennials, and I just so happen to be in 1985. So I'm literally the oldest millennial you can be. But I grew up building models. Building things like I can't tell you how many bikes I fixed growing up. Like it's stuff like that. Like we grew up before the age of everything has to come out of a box. Where hey, mom and dad don't make a lot of money. If I want a nice bike, I might have to rob Peter to pay Paul and put stuff together. That makes sense. Like we kind of grew up having the opportunity to go into the toolbox, grab a wrench, grab a screwdriver, and we might break it, but we also might make it pretty dope.
Might learn something. Every time you break something, you learn.
Sure, absolutely.
100%. Oh, like I say that all the time, man, that like there's got to be, I wish I would have kept them all. There's got to be like a 5-gallon Ziploc bag full of Sears I destroyed from all my time.
So I want to touch on something. Chris Ferguson, 1911, says, hasn't Novak stopped all work but sights? So on my Unicorn 1911, my TSIS anti-government model Colt, like if you look on there, it's got a dust cover where I mounted a Surefire X200 on it from early GWAT. That is a Novak drill, and you'd have to drill it into the dust cover and put it on it. So I actually couldn't find it on Brownells. It always shows sold out. So I called Novak. I don't know if I talked to old man Novak or not. May have. I called him and said, I'm looking for this. And he says, hold on a minute. Let me go dig through some boxes. He was gone for like 15 minutes. He came back. He said, I found one. Who am I sending it to? And I literally gave him my debit card number. It sounded like an old man. And he sent it to me. It was in a Ziploc bag. That's when you know you get cool shit. When it's in a Ziploc bag from old gun dude. If that shit's in a Ziploc bag and it shows up into your house in a freaking manila envelope, that's when you know it came from. That's pretty dope.
That is super cool.
So that's a part on that Unicorn gun. You can't reproduction that.
No.
I talked to some old dude that dug through old stock in Novak and found that part that has been out of circulation in Brownells for God knows how long. You just pick up the phone. Hey guys, Gen Z, whatever. There's a thing called a telephone, and if you talk to a human on it, you might get what you want.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Weird. It's like, it ain't all texting, it ain't all freaking emails. Pick up the phone. I talked to that Glenrock Bluing dude on the phone. Then I drove down and talked to him face to face and got what I wanted done.
Bro, you are saying some true things right now. I can't tell you how frustrating it is to have to like text somebody to take some Xanax because I got to call them in 20 minutes. Yeah, that's really. But I did want to compliment you on the anti-government model. I've never heard anybody call that before.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
a brilliant name for
If you look
1911.
really close, it's really close to the government model texting too. Under the
It looks great.
executive court.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's fantastic.
Good job.
And the why I call it the unicorn gun because it's got like the gold cup prancing ponies on the back part of this, the back part of the slide.
Yeah.
So
Except they're unicorns.
yeah, but they're unicorns. They're not the prancing pony. They're prancing
I love it.
unicorns.
Yeah.
So that's and was it a spoof to Colt? Sure, but that's why I did this. It's like, hey, I want to see what I could do. It's a nod to Colt. It was literally like a, what do you call that? When
Homage.
You love something
Homage.
so much, but you're willing to make fun of it.
Yeah.
I love you, Colt, so much, but I'm making fun of you because we get you hit together. We love you so much. So Milt Sparks holsters and quality leather. I know we got to get off the T-Sauce stuff. Let's take a break from it. We can talk about it all day long. So I know, Josh, you bought some quality leather for your 1911s. Now, who made that holster for you?
Engel gun leather.
And it like, from what you said, it clicks in almost like Kydex. It holds really good. Like I shoot competition. The plastic fantastic holsters, I got a ton of them, but there's nothing like the feel and the when you put a 19. We're gonna wax poetically on 1911s again,
Let's do
or
it.
even Gen 3 Smiths stuff, or a revolver into a good, well-molded piece of leather, bro.
Yeah,
Americana all the way.
nothing like it. Yeah, man. I actually called. His name's Jason Engel, and I just kind of wanted to get something very particular, and I want to make sure his holsters weren't going to be like everybody else's, where it's going to have two things. It's going to have this stupid FBI cant from like 1989 that nobody freaking wants anymore.
Yeah.
Which is so frustrating.
Yeah.
Or it's going to have an optic cut. Stick a sword through my head. I can't tell you how much I hate optics on 1911s.
The anti-government has a
Oh, dude, that's where I'm gonna just say no.
Hey, but it's got forward-mounted irons on it.
Okay. So I called Jason though, and man, we ended up talking for like an hour. And I just said, look, man, I have a YouTube channel. I said, and by the way, this guy, he was so giving, generous with information, and he walked me through his whole process. He studied under some real heavy hitters. He's got everything that I would lead to a world-class holster. And so I said, man, I'm going to do a video on your holster. I want to buy one. I paid full price. I got no deals on that. And he sent it to me. And listen, I've owned Sparks. I've owned a couple other good ones. I can't remember the name of it, but and like an idiot.
Or even if you don't talk about the crazy good ones, you talk about Galcos. You talk about stuff like that.
I got a pile of Galcos and the
sure.
good ones. And let me tell you, this Engel is one of the finest holsters I've ever touched. I mean, he finishes it in acrylic. He's got his own stain color that they're gorgeous. The stitching is top shit. Like everything about them, they're just perfect. There's nothing to criticize. And it really does make a difference to, man, it dovetails nicely on what you were just saying. Look, if you're going to go through the trouble of maybe spending a lot of money on a custom gun or doing it yourself, man, it's the icing on the cake to finish it with a quality piece of leather.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, so I've seen holsters come through my old man shop that are hand-off made by leather craftsmen. Like, you're talking like Stingray and whatever kind of magic leather there is at the bottom of the sea, or in Africa, whatever it is, like beautiful stuff. And talk about a compliment to whatever gun that you love is a beautiful holster. I'm not talking about this plastic fantastic stuff, which is great for an everyday utilitarian gun. Sure, the plastic fantastics, they work great.
Holsters
Absolutely, sure. But like Matt, you did a barbecue pistol gun. Like you're talking like, man, what a hand and glove moment it is when you slide a piece of cold steel into a beautifully crafted piece of cowhide.
That's
you
right.
know what I mean? It's, like I said, manifest destiny, American spirit.
Can I just
you know
look?
what I mean?
I got a pan over here. You see back there? That's one of my Colt pre-wars. Okay, hopefully this doesn't get us dumped. That's got real elk antler grips on it. Okay, can you imagine if I put that in a piece of plastic?
You can't do it.
I think I might just freaking ignite into flames.
John Moses Browning would cast a spell on you down from on high, and you wouldn't be able to. Yeah,
and not to mention you'd scratch it up.
True.
Now,
I do have to say, my favorite Kydex holster on the planet, because I do have several, is the Safariland 5198. Just the best plastic or Kydex holster. But yeah, man, no, like.
But you put a Glock in there, right? Is that what you?
No, I'll carry I'll carry a beater 1911 in there.
Yeah.
And I've had that holster for 14 years. But it's cool because what they do is they put fake stitching on the outside, and then there's suede lined, so it feels and looks like a leather, but it's got the grip of a Kydex.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, but man, a fine leather holster, it's one of those things to aspire to. That it's something you really gotta.
So there's a guy that just posted something about Bull Armory. I have shot a lot of Bull Armory stuff. There's Sirigamulus, whatever your name is here.
Let's see.
Bull Armories are cool.
Is that the Israeli guns?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've never shot one.
They're
2011s and stuff like that. A lot of them.
They might talk us into going to war again. Whoops.
Well,
they're cool. They're dope.
Ask him if his Bull Armory was promised to him 3,000 years
ago. Oh, you stole it. I was going to say that, dang it.
You do it. No,
I had
but
that loaded.
Speaking of which, kind of shift a little bit. Speaking of Bull Armory, because Bull Armory makes a striker fire gun called the Axe, which kind of looks like that new. Did you guys happen to see my video on that new Wilson Combat bulwark or whatever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think? $1,800 or $1,900 for?
No way. Not for a glorified, like you said, shield.
Internal, yeah. It's not my speed.
It feels a little. It feels tone deaf to me in a world where you got Palmetto selling what is their daggers?
Daggers
for freaking like
$2.99,
15 shekels and a bag of crackers. Like,
yep,
yeah, man.
Yep, yeah. Palmetto is, they're doing a lot of people dirty with how low their prices are. People can't get down that low. And price drives. I think if I had to hazard a guess, price is the number one driver in a lot of things, but especially guns.
Right now,
which is why Taurus is so popular still.
Yeah.
Yep. Especially right now.
But
man.
Taurus is coming out with that new PCC. Have you seen that thing?
I have.
The videos on that?
No.
You guys take proprietary magazines out. They made that baby with that took Scorpion mags. Bro.
Yep. The problem with that is price again. I think they said MSRP was like $9.99. Don't quote me on that. But a lot of people were like, "Whoa, like 1,000 chicken nuggets for a Taurus?" Like, but I think it is. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris. I think isn't it a roller gun? I think it's a roller.
Yeah, roller delay.
Yep. Like MP5. So
it would be cool, but also I don't want proprietary magazines. I'm sick of buying more magazines.
Dude.
I already own a AKV that takes Scorpion mags. If that thing took Scorpion mags, I'd probably buy one. Buy them cheap, stack them deep. But like, I am done buying freaking magazines. I'm not adding any more calibers to my cadre. 9mm 45 223 308's all I need. Give me NATO or I got 6.5 Creedmoor. I got a 6.5 need more, but
your video just dumped there, Chris.
I don't know what happened. Are you there?
Yeah, well, I mean we can hear you, but
we can still hear you.
I don't know what I did. Add effects using.
It must have hit some button.
There we go.
Oh, there you are.
So I don't know what happened. So I own a 6.5 need more, but that's my long range gun. But like I'm tired. I used to shoot open 9mm major. I dumped that gun. I don't even know where we're going off of this.
My argument for that Wilson gun was I could understand spending that much money on a Wilson 1911, but even then, I don't think you can get a Wilson 1911 for $1,800 anymore. I think they're starting at around $3,000 at least. So when you're buying a high-end 1911, you're well aware of the law of diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Will that $300 TSUS perform as well as a high-end custom 1911? Probably. It probably will. You're going to get better fit finish, all the stuff we've gone over. You're buying, what you're spending your money on. For a 9mm internal hammer-fired gun with a grip safety and also that kind of stuff, I made the argument in the video, like, you could buy a police trade-in Glock for $299 all day long on AIM surplus. And Glock is renowned worldwide for their reliability, and they're plenty accurate enough, even the older ones. So you could literally buy 5 Glocks that will probably outlast that thing, and it's not a proprietary trigger pack, all that other kind of stuff that comes along with that gun. I don't know. I don't see it. I just don't see it in there. I know some people will buy it. Mainly the boomers that have like 10 Wilson Combat 1911s and wear the Wilson Combat hat, and they're like, I'm telling you something, Sonny. Wilson Combat. If it's not Wilson Combat, it ain't shit. That type of stuff.
Ken Hadley. I wonder. Yeah. I kind of want to I kind of want to know how hard they had to push Ken Hackathorn to not puke when he's seen that gun, because he's also the guy that wrote a book about shooting at night with flashlights and also is talking shit about people putting flashlight on their gun. He literally wrote a book about shooting at night with flashlights.
But Ken Hackathorn's his buddy. I mean, him and Bill Wilson came up together.
Sure, absolutely.
He's gonna,
And Ken Hackathorn is one of the OGs.
Oh yeah.
He's right up there with Colonel Jeff. I wouldn't say not up there with Colonel Jeff Cooper, but he's an OG. You got Colonel Jeff Cooper. You got, those guys. You got,
Clint Smith and all those guys.
Sure. Yeah. Thunder Wanch,
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, my number one bucket list person who I want to take a class from is Clint Smith. Like, even if I could resurrect Rex Applegate, I wouldn't do it. Clint Smith, like I just.
So let me give you a little story about that real quick.
Yeah.
When I took that Rifle Dynamics AK class, right? The owner of Rifle Dynamics, the guy named Mark, is like really good buddies with Clint Smith, and he was talking to me about it when we were out on the range part the second day. We're out there on the range and they're setting it up, and he's talking to me. He's like really good friends with them. And he goes, man, I said, yeah, he just recently moved to Wyoming. I live in Wyoming, doing the whole thing. And he says, listen to me. You have got to take a class for him before he passes. He is getting up there in years. And I'm telling you, if we could get Jeff Cooper back, you'd want to take a class from him before you pass. Yeah. And now Clint Smith is that guy. He's like, you got to do it. I said, well, he's in Wyoming now. And I even, I talked to him about your pop, Chris, because I said, yeah, because he said he also would hang out with this guy. Mark said he would hang out with Jeff Cooper too, Colonel Cooper. And I said, yeah, my buddy's father's a gunsmith. He used to hang out with him up there in Wyoming. Got pictures of him at the Cody Firearms Museum and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And but the point was, he said, we don't all live forever. So if you get a chance before he passes, you got to take at least one class with Clint
So
Smith.
so like
Oh yeah,
yeah,
you got to
absolutely.
do it.
The old masters are dying. You're talking about, look at even you call like James Yeager passed away.
Yeah.
He was a big deal in the AK mid 2000s. He passed away. You're talking, he died of cancer. You're talking even if you want to what's his name? Costa Ludus. If you want like his big deal when he was big, take a class. These old masters are getting old. We're all getting gray. We all used to be cool and dope
right.
back in the early 2000s.
We all used to be young once.
Yeah, we're all getting gray. We're all getting old. There's a lot of knowledge that is within the next 20 years. I don't like to think about my old man passing away, but he just hit 65. In the next 20, 30 years, a lot of these old masters are going to be gone.
Yep.
And
well, we lost. You're right.
We're who's stepping up to replace him?
Nobody, because all that training. Here's the other thing you just touched on that made me think. A lot of these old guys, you're getting the old school fundamentals, and it's always good to learn a bunch of different ways to do something, and then glean information from all those different ways and fit it to the way you want to do it. Which is what I mentioned in that video, which is why I took that AK class. I got a basic understanding of how to build them, but I wanted to see how these guys did it. And boy, did I learn some stuff, and it was awesome. But the old guys like Clint Smith and all these old trainers are leaving this immortal coil. And now all you're getting is the John Wick trainers with the Glocks and the dots and the lights. Look at Josh's face. I knew he was.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're getting a lot of the old school techniques, fundamentals, and all kinds of stuff that they used to do back in the day. And a lot of times it's really good to learn why we are where we are now. How did we get here? A lot of people ignore that stuff. 100% ignore it. They think, unfortunately, a lot of people think the world just wasn't around until they were born, and so they think, oh, we're just like with the Glock. Oh, Glock's that old argument. Glock's better than 1911. Well, without the 1911, you wouldn't have the Glock because of the operating system, the slide stop, all the stuff was the striker system, all developed by John Brown, who developed the 1911. So without the 1911, you wouldn't even have the Glock. So of course the Glock is just a refined plastic 1911.
My dad tells me a story about the first Soldier of Fortune. My dad's old school competition shooter from way back.
Soldier of Fortune.
First Soldier of Fortune matches. They were held in Las Vegas. They were the OG, like running through the desert. You had to do somersaults with your guns and shit like that. Like
crawl through tunnels and stuff.
So Glock had a big thing they came out with, like had all these soldiers march out onto the parade field, walked up to all these loops of rope that were sticking up out of the ground, and the big thing was Glock. The new space age Glock, ultimate reliability, the best gun. And they pulled these Glocks out of the sand, which is their claim to fame. Pull them out of the sand, it'll run. Like out of 10 of them, like 2 of them functioned. Like, so it was like in front of and this was Soldier of Fortune match. This is a big deal. And like all the big shooters and all the the creme de la creme are there. We're talking early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So you got these, and boom, bah, bah, bah. It's a big deal in Vegas. And people would spectate and watch these matches. It's a big deal. Like the gun stuff back in the 70s and 80s where people could come watch. It's kind of a big deal. You got because and I'm not talking to any of you guys out of school. You got guys that used to speed shoot, what's his name?
Bob Munden.
Bob Munden, dude, he used to travel around. My dad lived back door to Bob Munden. My dad ordered one of his tapes, and Bob said, "How about you step out your back door and I'll hand it over the fence?" My dad used to be a cop in Montana.
Wild, man. My
dad was like, "How did I not know?" Him and my dad used to shoot together. Bob Munden and my dad used to shoot together. I've had dinner with Bob Munden. I was little. I was 5 or 6 years old. I met Colonel Jeff Cooper. I was 10, but I've met these old masters. So when we talk about these guys leaving this mortal coil, guys, you got to listen to it. I remember standing outside, and I'm not trying to brag, but I remember standing outside the Cody Firearms Museum with my dad, and standing my dad on this side, Colonel Jeff Cooper on this side, and I'm looking up at the big statue of the Cody Firearms Museum out front. We're going there because my dad's dedicating a firearm to Jeff Cooper, and I said, "Hey, Dad, how many bullets does that rifle hold?" And Colonel Jeff Cooper looking down at me says, "Cartridges, boy. It's cartridges." Like, what? Like, so we're losing these old guys.
If I were you, just by the way, I would probably like get the transcript of that conversation tattooed on my thigh, because that's the coolest thing.
It's cartridges, boy. Just put that on there.
I appreciate you saying that. I was very blessed growing up. Like,
yeah,
a lot of people, like the people that are in the know of, like Bob Munden, you know, like all these people, like you know, like in the competition, Mike Voigt and Ben Cooley. You ever heard of those guys?
Yeah.
Like, I shot against Mike Voigt before he passed away.
That's hard.
I've met these guys.
That's crazy.
Like, I literally shot against Mike Voigt and Ben Cooley. You know, and I'm not. This sounds so braggadocious, but I'm not. But it's like, I'm just trying to tell you guys, like, these guys are getting old. Mike Voigt passed away from cancer. He was one of the greatest shooters in the late 90s, early 2000s. His wife is kicking his wife, the widow, is kicking ass for Ruger right now. Like,
yeah, man. Super Dave Harrington, he was another one.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, man. Like, I totally agree with you that, you know, I had a unique upbringing as well, in that I was always like, so I started playing guitar at 10 years old, but all the guys I played guitar with were like in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. And so I had a very similar upbringing, like in the guitar world, where it's like, I didn't play with people, excuse me, my age. They were all like these super experienced guys. And I learned early on how to extract wisdom from those guys. And I came to appreciate it. It benefited me. And when you bring it over to the gun world, it's so true, man. Like, there is this, I call them tactical turtlenecks. These guys who, their mind is polymer. Everything is plastic, microwave, Velcro, multicam, high speed, Navy SEAL, nipple piercings, bleach blonde hair.
We call them Delta Navy Scroll Delta door gunners. Like, that's what we call them on our podcast. Like,
tactical turtlenecks. Yeah,
dude. These guys, they just. You said it so well. It's like life began when they were born. It's like, no, you don't realize, like I saw a video, I think actually it was DB in the chat. I think he sent it to me today. Maybe it was somebody else on Instagram. And it's this guy riding a horse with a lever gun shooting pigs at full gallop. And I'm like, do you know how freaking hard that is?
Yeah, like, dude.
That's a G right there.
Yeah, dude, like, right.
That guy with his 6-shot, 1894 would smoke that guy wearing multicam Oakleys and probably a thong. Like, the modern guys just, they don't appreciate look, there's this guy in Georgia, where my family's from, and this dude walks the woods with a Remington 1858 black powder pistol. Okay. And I know there's people who would scoff at that guy. And listen, he makes his own lead, his own ball. He makes his own powder. He makes his own caps. He makes his own freaking lube out of the lard from the pigs and cows he slaughters. This guy is completely self-sufficient, okay? And I'll never forget, I was a lot younger but into guns. And at the time, I didn't even know what black powder pistols were. I just knew he had this old cowboy gun, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm out there with my, cool guy tactical rifle or whatever. And this dude pulls out that Remington 1858 and shoots a Coke can at about 70 yards with a black powder Remington 1858 with ball, not even conicals, okay? And I was like, what is even happening? And this guy, over time, I just listened to him talk, and it's like honestly, what we're talking about right now, this is the whole motivation for my channel. Is there's a old Bible verse that says, "Stop at the crossroads, ask for the old paths, and follow the old ways, that you may walk in them and find rest for your souls." The stupidest people don't know how to look back and find the wisdom. And what we're talking about with these masters, it's like, okay, this old guy carries a 1911. Okay, this old guy like Clint Smith, he likes the Springfield trapdoor. That's a single shot rifle. Guess what? I wouldn't want to be within 800 yards of that guy with iron sights. That guy would rip you in half with that rifle. So I think there's so much wisdom to be found, and you can't write those guys off.
Yeah, and that's not to take away. I wanted to go back because I thought about it and caveat, not to take away the importance of the Glock or how good a Glock handgun is. We all own multiple Glocks.
I carry a gun.
And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. We all. So for people that might watch this later and be like, "Oh, look at these boomers with the 1911s and they hate Glock." They don't hate Glock. Just recognize how we got the Glock.
That's right.
And don't overdo Glock. Don't be like Glock, 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 Glock. Like you said, polymer, everything, polymer. That's what, go back and go, how did we get to Glock? And then you go, oh, we came from the 1911 and the high power and the this and that. And I think another thing is people are, touched on this before, people are really spoiled when it comes to guns in general, but especially handguns, semi-automatic handguns. We are in the golden age of semi-automatic handguns. Whereas back in the day, if you lived in the United States, up until like the 60s or 70s even, you had two choices. You had like a 1911 and you had a Browning high power.
Sure.
And that was pretty much it. You might have been able to get a Luger
Yep.
or, but Gen 3 Smith came out when, like
80s.
60s? 80s? Yeah.
Or probably 60s.
When did the Model 39 come out? And even then it was a single stack, So there was some old, surplus guns like maybe Walther P38s, but I don't think they got a lot of those in the country unless they were like war bringbacks. So they were pretty rare. But if you wanted to walk into, that's why revolver was the king all the way up through the 80s. All police departments carried revolvers because, frankly, semi-automatics weren't that reliable.
It's true.
So you had, if you're going to walk into a gun store, you pretty much could probably buy I don't even know if you could buy a high power, really, because they might have been bringbacks. But you kind of had a 1911, and that was kind of it, And then a truckload of revolvers. But whereas revolvers are now making a resurgence, it's just kind of a retro gun.
Well, and
I want to shout out Gavelton Country Mike. Gavelstone Country Mike is the Gucci flag tactical types. I'm 64. Was in the Marine Corps when we were still allowed to wear olive drab utilities. And Jimmy Carter was president, and I trained with a 1911. Thank you for your service, dude.
Love that. Yeah, man. On that note, with what you said, Matt, it's true. Like, look, I own a couple Glocks. I don't even know how many, and they're fantastic. Now, I'm going to get really crotchety, and I get very like when somebody comes at me with something that is basically a Glock 19, but not a Glock 19. I'm like, what's the point? What's with the exercise? Let's just look. Glock. Everybody's trying to be Glock, so why not? I'm just not interested really in all the other polymer guns out there.
Shadow systems and all that.
Gag me with a spoon. I just don't care. I don't care. But no, I love them. I think they're fantastic. Actually, here's what's funny. My backup gun to my 1911 is a Glock 19. So I trust them. I carry them.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not a denigration on them, but it's so true. And look, I've even said this before. All of us are better shooters when you go back to the old guns.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's something to it, man, because it's the same thing with like everything nowadays is dumbed down. Everything's made for a less intelligent, retarded society.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, there's a lot of things where they're a little bit harder. They require some thought and some training and some knowledge and some skill and some tools and some time. And you're a better person for learning how to use those things.
Oh, yeah.
And, I've often said, man, like, you go back to the gunfighters of the 1870s through 1890s, most of those guys, like Wild Bill Hickok is a great example. He's carrying 1851 Navies. Guess what they're not doing? They're not reloading. So you know what you had to do? You had to be
Carry
a
two.
master. Yeah, carry two. That's true. But you don't miss. That's the goal.
Yeah.
And so
Or you carry multiple freaking cylinders.
What do they call them? A
Yep.
brace? You carry a brace of pistols.
a brace
You
of
carry two.
a brace
Yep.
of 50,
Yeah.
a brace of
Yeah.
Navies. But see,
Yeah,
here's
you're
the
right.
thing.
They're made to the lowest common denominator nowadays. Yeah.
But see, back then, the mindset was not, I'm just going to shoot a lot and because I have lots of bullets. It's like, no, I have a limited supply. I can't be pouring powder down a cylinder while somebody's
there's no
trying to kill
reloading.
me.
Yeah.
So you don't miss. And that's a completely different mindset where accuracy is king. Now, there's still some guys holding the line on this, like Pat McNamara. He's putting out a lot of great content right now. And he's really punching this in the face that, like, look, these guys that get close and spray, he's like, tell me you can't shoot without telling me you can't shoot. He's like, at the end of the day, there's one thing that matters, and that is accuracy. And it flies in the face of the modern mindset, which is I'll just carry an M134 minigun and hose my opposition. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you're responsible for every one of those. Good luck in court.
I specifically
So
when I
there's
was shooting USPSA a lot, I specifically switched to single stack because at the time there was not a whole bunch of divisions like they have now. But I used to shoot limited, and I'm not going to say it was easy, but a lot of stages you didn't have to reload, all this other kind of stuff. And I said, I'm going to switch to single stack just to see how well I can do with single stack, where you got 8 rounds. You start off with 9, but otherwise you got 8 rounds, and you just, okay, I got to reload here. I got to reload here. I got to reload here, and just see how well I can do against guys with better equipment. It got to that point where I got so bored shooting it for so many years. I'm like, let me mix it up. I'll just shoot single stack. Give myself a gear handicap just to try to, see how, and it made it more challenging, which I liked that. That was the point of it. I wanted to be more challenging.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you attribute it, like you talking about Wild Bill there, Josh. Well, like Wyatt Earp is famous for saying that fast is fine, but accuracy is final.
Yep.
So, like, when you had a 5, carrying on a dead whole 5-shot gun, you might have 2 of them, but like you had to make that shot count. When you're shooting single stack in a USPSA stage, you can't carry. You could be carrying mags from your belly button to the small of your back. If you're not making hits, fast is fine, but you got to hit this shit, and your gun's got to run. So there's 2 things to, you could do like combat and competitive shooting. 1, you got to know how to run the gun. 2, your gun's got to run. Your gun's got to run every time.
Yep.
So that's why, like, what is that guy from Midway USA? The only interesting gun is an accurate gun. To me, it's the only I'd put a caveat to that is the only interesting gun is an accurate gun and a reliable gun.
Yeah.
I don't care if your guns look cool, whatever. If it don't run and if it don't shoot, I don't care. It's like,
yeah, you're right.
Or if it shoots on its own.
For me, reliability is the number one thing ever because you got to get those bullets out the barrel.
Yeah.
So even if you're shooting a 6-inch group at 100 meters, if you're able to fire every round out of that magazine, you're good to go. Yeah. If you got a sub MOA gun but it jams every other round,
sure,
that's you know what I mean. So you should have both 100%. But for me personally, I prioritize getting the bullets out the gun. If it don't
run, it don't matter. I'm not interested. I don't care. Like like that's why. So like staccatos and stuff back in the early part of the, they weren't known as reliable pistols. They took a big turn. Now they're known as a reliable. But I think,
well, that's when they were STI.
When they were STI. But that's a lot of marketing too. But I do think they're better. They are better. I own one and I carry one.
But see, here's the thing too. Like I remember when I bought my first STI Edge, I bought it from, I don't even know if they're still in business, Brazos Custom. Brazos with an OG. Business. They are okay. So I bought it from Brazos, and they had this thing like it was a bone stock gun, but he's like, I don't remember. I want to say it was like $100, $150. He'll do the reliability package on it. So I bought it from him, but I paid for the reliability package, so it came set up and ready to go. But for people that didn't offer that, you're right. It was kind of a toss up back then whether they worked or not. And that was in the era when everything was in 40 for
Sure.
limited guns,
Sure.
because you could
Yeah.
shoot 200 grain lead bullets and they would just be like powder puff loads out of that sucker, and we're running like 11-pound or 9-pound recoil springs, and you're just like 20 round 22 round mags or whatever.
Now this is where I'm gonna say some really unpopular crap. So like and this is the same in the AR world. Everybody wants to run like everything's about shooting flat, reducing recoil, right? And so what you do is guys are shooting like 14.5 pin and welded mid lengths. They're doing these buffer systems and springs and they're trying to. What they're doing is they're riding the ragged edge of reliability.
Yes.
And for me, I'm just so against that. That's why I run full fat. Now I don't do plus P, but just regular pressure, 230 grain, 16-pound springs. I don't dick with any of like that special tune this, tune that. No, just a good old 1911. Does it hit me more? I guess, but I mean, I've got slow-mo footage where that gun doesn't even rise 10 degrees. So for me, because I'm about the reliability, I don't play with that stuff where it's like I'm starting to use really light springs and do all this stuff because, man, now you can go the opposite direction, use too heavy springs.
Yep.
You run into problems there too. So, yeah, I mean, for me, that's why I kind of preach stock 1911s. They've been working for way too long to be.
So, no, it's funny you say that because Clash Bash just happened in Texas, which is like the largest AK competition probably in the world, but at least in the United States. So they had Clash Bash, and they had a torrential downpour there. And it was just muddy, and they had a stage where you had to run into a trench, and the water was literally like 2 feet deep.
Wow.
So it was muddy, and I seen all these videos from the guys that attended, and rifles were going down, AKs were going down hard, dead hard, because just what you said, they were undergassed. A lot of them were gassed for sunny, beautiful, dry days when they're perfectly clean, and the brass is just dribbling out.
That's right.
All the people that were shooting, some of the videos said the people that were shooting like stock Kalashnikovs and stuff, no issues, no problems. The guns were soaked in water. They were rusty. When you're shooting the competition ones that had the left side charge, which you have to open the dust cover, which is another ingress for dirt, down hard.
Yeah.
They just, and let's not forget in the case of like a Kalashnikov, they got to work in what's that, Kuska or whatever, Yakuska, where it's like 75 below zero in Siberia, and then it's got to work all the way in the hot jungles of Vietnam and in Afghanistan. That's why they kick hard. They don't really, but that's why they'll shoot the brass 20 feet in the air. And on top of that, Russian QC on their ammunition is not. You'll get 20 feet, 20 feet, 20 feet, 3 feet, 20 feet, and if you don't have it fully gassed, that 3-foot one would have jammed. So.
Yep.
But you're right. It's when you tune those guns, you're 100% right. Just to barely work on the ragged edge, so you can just squeeze the last little bit of recoil, recoil mitigation out of them. You will get reliability issues.
So that's fine for the competition world, but even in the competition world where run it on the ragged edge reliability, but still you don't win matches if your shit don't run.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
right.
You will be in the. If you got you're shooting like a man on fire, but your shit don't run.
Working. Yep.
You are gonna you lost your match. Then you drove 300 miles. You got 2 days in a hotel.
Yep.
You got food. You got gas. You got all this stuff, but you wanted to run your stuff on the ragged edge of reliability, bro. Like,
Josh, I don't know if you've ever seen it. I know Chris has seen this. I know for a fact he has, because we might even talk about it. There were guys, like especially open guys, that literally will have a bag or take a gallon Ziploc bag and put it over their gun on their holster.
It's called a gun bag.
Gun bag on your hip
yep.
to keep the dust out of it. I've seen guys, they keep their magazines just to try to keep all dust off it in Ziploc bags. They'll shoot a stage, go back, tear their gun apart. Most people don't do this, but they will literally field strip their gun, clean it off, put it back together, put it in the bag, just to try to keep
I
any little
had
dirt.
when I shot open,
It's crazy.
I would
used to shoot a lot.
disassemble. If I dropped that mag in the dirt, I would go off, empty it, pull the spring, pull everything, and I had silicone spray lube, spray it, and I had a microfiber cloth, and I run it through the mag, and it's just when you're playing gun games and you're running a funny car, you've got to do the maintenance. That's just part of it. But now if you're carrying a carry gun or a competition, not really because that's pure competition gun. That's pure at the, like when you're shooting open USPSA, that is the purest of competition guns.
Oh yeah,
still
that's
got to
run.
But you've got a whole other host of issues there. But like when we're talking like when guns got to run, the mud, the blood, and the meat, like you can't run it on the ragged edge. No. It's gonna have some recoil. It's gonna be, whatever. Yeah. I absolutely agree with you guys. We're not necessarily leaving the stream, guys. Once again, I don't know how long you guys want to hang out. I'm down for a little while longer, but we're coming up on another at the end of our after hours on the Muffin Top Tactical side. We're not ending the stream right now until Josh kicks us off. So stay, you 40 cool you people in the chat, you cool dudes, stay. Okay, Matt, where can we find you? We're just ending the Muffin Top Tactical side.
After hours, So Wyoming Gun Project on YouTube, Instagram, and X. Wyoming Gun Project.
Josh, where can we find you?
Old Path Traveler on YouTube, Instagram, and X.
Cool. Muffin Top Tactical, everywhere you can find the podcast. Obviously, if you're listening to it, you found it. But just telling you guys on the stream. And we're not ending it. And find me on Instagram, Muffin Top Tactical. Keep learning, keep shooting. And we're still talking. So I just wanted to keep it there.
Yes.
Because I'm having a great time.
Yeah.
I'm willing to hang out.
So I got a question for you guys then, since we're off the stream but we're still on YouTube. And is there anything that's exciting you? Like that you're absolutely
that's a good question right there.
Anything?
What's tickling our tisms is what you're saying?
In the gun. Like, do you see anything new lately or anything on the horizon where you're like, yes,
No, I when I look at like SHOT Show videos, I'm just like, I'm going to drive into a brick wall because it's here's basically, I'm going to summarize everything new right now. Let's put a red dot on it.
That's a red dot.
That's everything.
I was just kidding.
Dude, it's literally everything.
Like that. It's like that. It's the South Park episode where they're talking about Kathleen Kennedy with Star Wars. Put a chick in it, make her lame and gay. But sir, this is a chicken salad.
No, man. Like I was even looking. I was watching the Colt video from SHOT Show, and that's literally the move. It's like
they just put a dot on.
It's just put a red. Like there's what is it? Some the Colt Cobra or some revolver, and it's like red dot, and it's like innovative, fantastic. So no, man, the stuff that interests me is everybody's going Jetsons. I'm going Flintstones. I'm going in reverse.
I just want to say this before I forget because it just popped back in my head. Yep. I wanted to mention something going back when we were talking about TSUS and Mac and all those companies and how Josh made the point that they're definitely paying attention. Why do you think Kimber came out with the Warrior series 2011 style budget guns that are right around 1,000 chicken nuggets? Because they are paying attention to TSUS and Mac military armament, and they're
looking at the DS9.
And they're trying to bring the Kimber name to that price point. Yes. Where if they get close enough, people will recognize. They'll go, "Oh, I'll buy the Kimber over," because they look a lot like those guns when I saw them at SHOT Show. Yeah, they are.
Yep. No, it's true, man. I think even though the common guy might not be as plugged into TSUS like we might be. Mm-hmm. Best believe those other companies are. They know it's affecting their bottom line. And look, I mean, it's like with anything. I'm in the construction mechanical world. I remember what it was like when Chinese ductwork became available, and that's why like now there's like 10 sheet metal factories, American sheet metal factories that are gone in the past 5 years because these foreign guys ate their lunch, right? Now, the ones that are still around, they got nimble, they got wise, and they said, okay, how do we do that?
Yeah, the pivot.
Exactly. But the other guys, it's like, okay, we've been around for forever. We're these guys. We don't change. We're the best. And laurels, and here they are. They're gone. So, absolutely, they have to be paying attention. And I mean, look, at the end of the day, if I were running Colt, here's the stupid part, because I've never run a large corporation.
Yep.
I think it's really simple. They're already buying in their parts. Nobody believes Colt's making their own parts.
No, 100%. Yeah, no.
That's just not real. If that's true, I'll just go ahead and say it. Like, why not go ahead and have a company like T-Sauce build the gun, send it to the U.S. Like this, again, going back to the PRS example with the guitars. They have a foreign line of guitars. They're called SEs.
The SE, yeah.
And they're great.
Yeah.
Those guitars come from Indonesia, but then they go to the American factory. They finish setting them up, make sure they're to their standards.
Yep.
Out the door they go. Because if Colt can't figure out how to do it on U.S. soil, look, man, I'm just going to be, this is a little grim. There's a lot of people who aren't going to be around in a few decades. The market that is now, and that's the people that are going to be joining the market in the coming seasons, they don't give a rip about that name Colt.
Nope.
I know a lot of them, a lot of young guys who are like, what's Colt? Like they genuinely don't care. You know, they're looking at all these foreign companies who are selling guns that they can afford. Because remember, these young guys can't afford a house. They can barely afford a car. Like there's a 2-story house down the street with 6 families living in it because they can't afford a home. Okay.
I just literally had a conversation about that with a guy, like at the cigar shop before I came on the stream.
Yeah.
There, the median income where I live, the median house where I live right now is like $350,000. That's like, what? How is this affordable for people? And like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
when I came from Northern Virginia, that's the ghetto is $350.
Yeah,
you better double that to get a decent
buy
house.
A new truck for $60,000 to $100,000 for a new pickup. So you got these guys, like, I work for a coal mine out here. I'm not a gun guy. Like, I'm not a gun guy by profession. I dig dead dinosaurs out of the ground. That's what I do. Well, I don't dig. I haul them up the hill. You know what I mean? I run equipment. I'm an equipment operator. I dig dead dinosaurs. Like, so when we're talking about this stuff where people, we can only spend our money so many ways here.
Yep.
Like when you've got pickups that are $100,000, you got $350,000 houses. Like my house, I live in a pretty nice house, but I bought it freaking 20 years ago.
Right.
My newest vehicle is a 2014 Chevy pickup because, all my shit's paid off. But by the grace of God, but like, I don't even know where I'm going with that. Like, it's getting so expensive.
Well, no, it's true, man. Like the younger folks, I have a lot of compassion for them because I hear there's a lot of people's where it's like, well, I got kicked out at 18 in 1971. It's like, okay.
You also buy at McDonald's for 29 cents.
Right, man. Like, I'm sorry, but the world now is really expensive. And I'm with you. I'm very blessed. We got our house at a stupid 2% interest rate. We're debt free. I drive old vehicles too. I drive a 2000 F-250 and I love it. All paid for. And so that's great. But these people coming up, the ones that are interested in guns, I know several who are in their 20s. A lot of them are my followers. And they're like, dude, I can't go spend thousands and thousands of dollars. One guy emailed me about 2 weeks ago. And he says, I just bought a PSA dagger. And he feels bad about it. I'm like, don't feel bad about that. You should take pride in the fact that you can defend yourself, defend your family. Like this is a new dad, right? And so, here comes TSOS or companies like them saying, hey, you can get into the 1911 game for $350.
Or even as much shit as we want to give, or as much crap as we want to give PSA. Their goal is to arm every American with the AR-15.
They're great
to defend your house, whatever.
Yeah.
We can argue whether or not they're a budget line. They're there to put guns in people's hands, in Americans' hands.
That's right.
So we can't, like the PSA dagger. You talking about $500 complete AR-15s, and I've even seen them, and we're not super propping up Palmetto, but I've seen combos where you can buy a rifle and a pistol and 10 mags for each, and a red dot and a case for
$750.
$750 to
crazy.
$1,000.
No, I was gonna say, if you're paying attention, you catch them on a sale. I got an AR-15 M4 style with green furniture for $299 from them. I bought the lower.
It's crazy.
I think the upper was $199 or something, and then the lower was $99 or something like that. So it came out to like $298, before transfer and taxes and shipping and all that kind of stuff. But you're under $400 for a complete AR-15.
You can't beat that. You're not buying a Sons of Liberty Gunworks Plus One.
Yeah.
That's not what you're getting.
Yep.
But you're getting a functioning gun that you can protect your family.
Don't you have the 733, Chris?
What's that?
You have the 733, right? The PSA.
I got an H&R 733
H&R 733.
that I put a.
Those are awesome.
I know everybody talks crap on the rare breed triggers, but I bought a rare breed when rare breed was cool. But that thing runs. It's my heat gun, dude. I when I lose a little bit of chub off I want to buy that heat rig. And I want to do a video of doing the Val Kilmer reload, because you gotta argue that is one of the best scenes in cinematic history, where he's running that gun, does the drop knee reload and back up. You're like, sick.
Yeah, man.
Josh, is your 20-inch a PSA?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine is too, and it's great.
Oh, dude, listen.
These small things, but it shoots, man.
Yeah, man. Look, I can't speak for all PSA products or anything, but
I was about to say, yeah,
because I know they
struggle, especially their AK line they struggle, but their AR-15s and some of the other stuff they do is pretty great.
Dude, I've owned 10 PSA AR-15s, and there's a couple things about them. Look, I know, Graham Thumb did a video, and he's like, well, they don't last more than 7,000 rounds. I'm like, bro, neither does your Geisley. What are you talking about? Sorry, but, all at a certain point, even the most expensive guns get shot out, and it's not that big of a difference. So, and here's the cool thing about PSA. Even if you shoot the barrel out, you can call them and be like, hey, I shot my barrel out. And they're like, cool, you want a new one? They take care of you. So I'm sorry. They're awesome. But,
I will have to say their customer service, I've had nothing but good good interactions with their customer service.
They're great.
Are we loving the Palmettos right now?
Yeah. The ARs.
The ARs.
But look, I mean, their rifles, there's one thing they all have in common, and this is a big one for me. Look, I've owned a lot of good rifles. I currently own a Colt AR, a SOCOM upper, fantastic. But all Palmettos are usually 3 or 4 clicks from center of bore. And it's really annoying to me when you get a rifle, because I shoot a lot of irons, and you got to freaking attach a drill to the drum and just move that sight all the way over, because whoever mounted that barrel blows goats on a Tuesday. It's those Palmettos shoot straight. And, man, that's nice, especially for me with glasses. It actually becomes difficult if a rifle, if I have to move that sight over too far, I literally have to cant the rifle so that my glasses don't fishbowl it. So those guns shoot straight. They've always run. Yeah, I just think for the money, nobody can touch them. And people can scoff and do all that stuff, but it's like, dude, you know, the guys that need that rifle can't afford to shoot 25,000 rounds and wear it out.
And at least they're not buying a freaking Bear Creek Arsenal. Like,
Fact.
And, you know, like,
or a Bear Creek AK.
Yeah, you know,
I didn't even know that was a
I'm
thing.
literally pointing to the camera while I'm talking to you, like,
so bad.
dude, that AK is so bad. We can get into it if you want, but like,
That's
can
so
you believe
bad.
the glamour shots they put on Instagram? They didn't even think we should center up the windage drum and
No,
maybe
here it is,
drop
Josh.
down the elevation a little
Let me
bit
give
to make
Josh
it
the
look like it's
lowdown.
straight.
Josh is already aware of Bear Creek Arsenal and
Yes.
their questionable everything for
I
AR,
just on
right?
that note, I have an upper from them, and when I got it, the front sight post was loose.
Oh my so you know, you have firsthand experience.
yeah, I wish
So-
I could sell it.
so-
I can't sell the thing.
After that, they decided, you know what? We're going to build some AKs.
Okay.
And they had it at SHOT Show. And they said, we're going to build this AK, and we're trying to come in the price point of $499, which for an AK nowadays is really cheap. And
Right.
I don't even know how they can come to that price point. Well, spoiler alert, they didn't. They come out and they go, yes, we did our AK-47. Bone stock, standard AK-47, plastic, clone, plastic furniture, no magazine, $999. So they doubled the price, which is roughly $250 more than a Wasser, a Romanian Wasser that comes out of a military factory. Front sight was slammed all the way to one side and up out of the two ears. You know how the AK has
Yes.
the two protected ear? The front sight post was standing proud
Oh,
above
man.
that, and it was slammed all the way over to the left. And they took glamour shots and posted that online. And did I say it doesn't come with a magazine? I think I did. They said it does not come with a magazine. Those are the pictures they posted, and they were
Go to Bear
posted.
Creek Arsenal on Instagram right now. You will
Yep.
see these glamour shots. You will see the video where they're
They still
talking
have 'em
about
up?
it and shit. I can look right now. I'll look. I don't give a crap.
It was-
Like,
It was so bad.
That dude,
Yeah.
that's rough, man. Like, look, for me, this is true with handguns, with AKs, with ARs. If the gun doesn't shoot straight, I'm selling it. This whole thing about like, oh, my pistol shoots a little left. Well, first of all, probably no, it doesn't. You shoot
It's probably
left.
you. Yeah.
I've never owned a handgun, not one out of
Yeah.
hundreds of handguns that shot left or right. Never, not once. I'm not saying it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy who has one that legit shoots left.
Yeah, I had that Smith Shield Plus in 30 Super Carry.
Yeah.
Legitimately shot left. I was like, what is going on?
It does happen.
Yeah.
But for me, if a gun's not center or bore with the sights, bye. I can't.
Yeah.
It just.
Yeah.
it's-
But I must say, okay, let me
Yeah.
caveat that. I think you mean with the sights being aligned properly
Right.
dude, I think they
and it
pulled it.
shoots left. Because in that Smith that I had, once I busted out the calipers and measured it, the rear sight was not centered properly.
That's right.
So that's why it was shooting left. So as soon as I got it centered, so you're correct. I understand what you mean now. I don't think I've had a gun where the sights are properly aligned and it
Yes.
just mechanically shot left.
That's-
Most of the
yeah.
time it is the shooter. Low left if they're right-handed. If they're
Every- it's-
left-handed, low right. You know?
It's like physics, man. It's just it's
Yeah.
so consistent. And look, like I said, I've got a friend who he has a 1911. As sure as I'm sitting here talking to you, that gun mechanically shoots left. And for me, I can't deal with that because there's so much that screws with, right? When you go to pull that gun out, it's muscle
Yeah.
memory that you bring that gun to your eye line. Well, now you've got to change your muscle memory to cock that gun over to find your sights.
Yep.
No way.
The video is still up, by the way. It's called Specs and Details of Our New AK. Just watch the video.
Yikes.
Sorry.
That's brutal. No, I've only owned one AK,
Mhm.
and it was a Visca.
Ooh, you got the worst one.
You got
But here's the
worst
thing.
one.
I ran like 800 rounds through it. It was fantastic. Like
Oh yeah.
I got a good one. Let me just tell you. I know that.
I don't know how well it shows up, but
Oh no.
so see how that front sight is sitting so proud above the protective ears. And see that windage drum, how hard it is pushed over? You see that? This is...
No cleaning rod. That's right from their website. Yeah. They posted those pictures. Like, what are you doing, dude?
That's rough, dude. That's brutal. Yeah, see, no, my Visca, that drum was dead nuts center. Yeah. It shot straight. I never had an issue.
With the Visca, if you'd have kept shooting it, usually, and it's documented a lot. Yes. Usually you get to about the 2,000, 2,500 round, and those trunnions crack, and they,
That's why I sold it.
They just surface harden them. Yeah. That's why you sold it. You found out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't know, and so a buddy of mine was like, "Hey, man, I'm not trying to be a douche, but that rifle's going to blow up." And I'm like, "Listen, I can take criticism. I don't. My personality is not invested in my stuff."
Right.
And so sure enough, I looked it up, and didn't James Yeager do a thing on that? Where like he took one to the range and like the freaking pin drifted out right in front of him.
Yeah, I think so. Or I know I think Mac from the Military Arms Channel did videos on it too. Yes. They were losing headspace because, and then once you lose headspace, you get far enough and boom, it turns into a bomb. So
yep. So I sold it and I told the guy, I said, "Listen, man, I got 800 rounds through it." I said, "You know what these are, right?" And he goes, "Yep." He's like, "I'm gonna tinker with it." And I'm like, "Okay, it's yours."
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to sell somebody, a problem. But I'm kind of holding out for the right AK. I mean, I don't want to go spend $3,000 on a stamped sheet metal gun. I'm sorry, I know that they're more than that, but I just can't.
I might know a guy. So.
Okay, that's kind of what I'm holding out for.
Yeah, whack.
Yeah. Jay Fearless Journey says, with that sight so far off, was the sight base canted? No, it's just that's how you change the AK front sight. If you got to move it, you got to drift that drum.
So in one of their videos, they showed, and you could visibly see that the front sight was canted. So I doubt. So in my Matt, correct me if I'm wrong. In my limited usage of an AK, if it's canted like that and your windage drum is pushed all the way over and that elevation is completely maxed out, personally I would say odds are of that actually being 0 or nil. Like there's odds are of that actually being
usually
0.
What can cause that is a bent barrel, or if you have because I haven't seen Beth's pictures on that, if you have your rear sight block. Now, the rear sight block goes into the trunnion. The trunnion's got 2 little ears on the top, and the rear sight block will slip in there. However, there is a little bit of play back and forth. And if you cant that sucker just a couple degrees in the rear, and then you go out to the front, it gets worse and worse and worse as the part of it goes out. So if the rear sight is canted and then the front sight is canted, let's say the rear sight is canted. If you're looking down the gun from the shooter's perspective, let's say the rear sight tower is canted just a little bit to the left, and your front sight is canted just a little bit to the right. So you got this thing going on, right, where they're not completely aligned. So it looks like when you line it up, it'll shoot left. So you're going to slam that sight to the right to try to compensate for it.
Sure.
But there's points where it can never get aligned right. What you got to go do is go back, pop the pins, and line everything up, and then oversize drill the holes, and then line the sights up.
What a mess.
Or the barrel could be bent. You could actually have it where they pressed it in wrong. You can bend the barrel just a little bit so where it starts shooting off to one side or high or low. And that's what a lot of people said about that one. If that picture is actually where it's sighted in at, they probably bent the barrel. They probably bent the barrel down when they were pressing it in.
Yeah, because if the sight is sitting proud,
it means it's shooting too low.
Yeah. Man, that's there's just so much. It used to be, and I'm kicking myself even to this day, back in like the Obama days, I remember going to the gun show, and there was this dude. He was selling just the wood crates, Romanian AKs for like $280.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked by, I was like, who shoots AKs? And I just totally skirted it. Now I'm like, oh my gosh.
I was working at the coal mine this is how old I am, during Bush, like later Bush. And then when Obama took over, I just so happened to have enough money. I bought an entire crate of AKs, 100 mags, and 10,000 rounds. Our local
Did a Black Hawk drop guys onto your roof and kick your door in?
Yeah, I ended up. Anyways, that netted me. It was beneficial to do that.
Heck yeah.
And I, because I don't want to have the Navy squirrel door gunners drop down on my roof, but like. When you can buy them for $250 and they're selling for $1,000 and you get 10 mags and 1,000 rounds per gun, I'm just saying, poor coal miner, it came out on the wrong side of that, side of that deal when I bought them during George Bush.
Heck yeah. Oh, dude, I remember when he first got elected, everybody was terrified because, all the anti-gun stuff and everything. And I remember at that same gun show, I was there to get an AR. I didn't have one at the time. And who was it at the Arms Room? You guys remember them?
Mm-hmm.
I think they're out of Florida here. They might still be around. But anyway, they were the only guys who had any left. Man, that gun show opened and there was a line out the door. Everybody was there for ARs. Mm-hmm. And there wasn't the same amount of people making them back then, right?
No.
So I managed to get one. I've got pictures of it. It was a piece of junk. Not a great. I mean, they had I don't even know what it was, like a Temu Yankee Hill freaking rail on there. It was one that like screwed on to the nut, and there was no way to lock it. It just threaded on, and you'd be shooting and that thing would just start to unthread and like it was a junk. But it was a rifle and I got it. But yeah, that gun show, man. Just pallets of AKs for nothing.
Remember when trash rods, Mosums were going for less than $100?
Oh, dude, my buddy,
$39.
Yeah, my buddy bought a. I'm
gonna be right back. I gotta
go for it.
Refreshing it. Yeah. I'm gonna let you look at Sarah Connor.
There she is.
Anaconda.
I'm going to be honest. Like, if you just cover her head, that's a guy. So
yeah.
But yeah, man. Like, I remember at that gun show, just those were there. There was a dude who had a Tupperware bin full of Lugers. Dude, just so much. Like, there was Remington Rands there that everybody was walking by for like $700. Just
remember.
Oh man. Not anymore. Them days are gone, buddy. Them days are gone. So we'll, if you guys are good, we'll wrap it here in a few minutes. Yeah. I do want to just catch up on the chats real quick. So where was it? There it is. David Weather said, "Have you shot the new Springfield Armory SA-35?" If you're talking about the 4-inch, no. It's a cool concept for people who are concerned about pistol length. My big thing there is just still springs, man. Springs and then that extractor. Springfield has not yet fixed their extractor problem. If you guys watched my series on that, I got to 1,000 rounds and snap goes that piece. So, like clockwork. So if it were me, if you're going to buy an SA-35, in my opinion, spend the extra $50, get a cylinder and slide, Rockwell tested extractor, just install it day one and bypass the whole problem.
I have that gun and it's awesome, but I've only shot maybe 300 rounds out of it, if that, because I got so many other guns that I shoot. I got to get back out and shoot that thing, but it's awesome.
They're great. I mean,
I don't think they ever had. Did they ever have a military version of the 4-inch one? I don't think they did.
No.
Did they?
No, I don't think so. I think that's
So I'm not. It's just me, kind of. I don't like military guns that they do that to. That they chop them down and they,
That's not for me.
I'd rather have like a military like style. Even if the military experimented with it, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. I dig that. But if it's something the commercial market did, to be like, you could carry this. There's so many more better options than a commander length, high power, single action. Like nowadays, it's just, I don't know, Glock 19. I just,
it's hard to beat. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my only problem with the SA-35 was the extractor, and then the springs were just comically bad.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't
they pull that off the market for a while? I thought they released it and then had some like serious issues with it.
Well, it was the extractor. Yeah, they
stopped sending them out or something.
Yeah, they did a big. Well, I think it was like maybe a recall or a voluntary recall. Anyway, they had problems in the first few thousand. I think at like the 10,000 round serial number or that serial number range, and they said they fixed it. I mean, there's people, probably more than 10 people that I know of that have serial number ranges 45,000 plus, which is what mine was, supposedly well past the fix, that are breaking extractors. So the problem is it's a MIM part. I have the broken one in a box right over there. It's clearly a MIM part, and people, oh my gosh, the coping.
No.
Oh my Lord! It's like, no, they're forged. Because see, Springfield does this. They're fantastic at this. They say our guns are forged. Now that's a very general statement. Here's a more true statement. This is another reason why
forged in freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
The piss of virgins and the blood of the bald eagle.
Exactly. Yeah. So they say something general like, our guns are forged. But see, what TSOS does is they say our frames are forged, our slides are forged, our barrels are forged, our internal parts are machined, and they're specific. What Springfield omits from their statement is, well, only our frames and our slides are forged. Everything else is MIM, right? Or most things. Their barrels are probably forged. So, I'm sorry, but no, those are not forged or machined parts. They are MIM, because when you look at it, they look like they are melted sand, because that's what MIM is. So, yeah.
Oh, I remember the days of Springfield Armory being made by Imbel in Brazil, and it would say it on there. Like, those guns were a dime a dozen, so you didn't really pay attention to them.
Springfield. What about all the Croatian guns they come out with?
The HS-2000, man.
The HS-2000, whatever the Hellion is. I don't even know what the parent gun to the Hellion is.
VHS, I think it's called. I think it's a VHS is what I think it's called.
Well, the HS is the original XD. That's old.
Yeah.
The old school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Look, I mean, they work, but to me,
I wouldn't shoot them. I don't personally like XDs. I've never found one that I like. That's never been a pistol that, I mean, they function? Yes. Are they sure. Nah, I'm good.
Well, this gets back to what's the point? Like, Glock. What's the point? Why are we doing this exercise?
Why are we trying to out-Glock the Glock when Glock's here? So, even with, Stealth Arms and stuff like that, Stealth Arms is having a problem with reliability. They've done stuff cooler than what Glock should have been doing 15 years ago, but the reliability on some of their comped guns is not there.
Yeah.
So, Glock is still the king of the striker fire guns.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah, they are. And, oops, sorry, hold on. I just clicked a standby screen. There we go. You're back. Yeah,
LOL, we're back.
Yeah.
So, and you're talking about the SA-35 and the high power type guns. Have you seen the new Gerson that's coming out? That is red dot cut. I know, Josh, you hate it. Red dot cut.
Boo.
Has the extended beaver tail. Has all this, for me, I get cut right here by a standard Browning high power. I need that little bit of a beaver tail sweep, because for me, dude, I own a Belgian Browning from World War II that was built under Nazi occupation. It got the Wolfen stamp on it. I got it.
That's cool.
My first competition gun was a Browning high power that my old man built me. but he built a little bit of a beaver tail because whatever reason, my chubby hands
Bite you.
It bites me.
I've got a great solution. Okay, so sorry, I'm going to be sort of a douchebag here. See, I don't know if you can see the scar tissue on my hand.
Sure.
What
sure,
you do is just don't stop shooting,
That's
and
right.
then one day you don't feel your hands anymore.
Yeah. No, I don't know if you can see the wagon. You can see it.
Hey, you
Yeah.
know how they fix that? Look, I'm going to be a pariah here. You know how they fix that? But just buy the new high power. It's a better gun. Blasphemy! I'm like one of the only guys that own that thing, and I gotta tell you, it's not bad, dude. It's not bad.
Which
I
one
think
is that?
it's expensive for what it is. The new high power.
Yeah.
After they canceled the whole pot,
Yeah, the
I know
one that
it looks-
I said it looks
purists-
like RoboCop and a cucumber had a baby.
Yeah, all the purists hate that gun. Josh
Yeah,
hates that.
I hate it, yeah.
Dude, I want a RoboCop gun.
You gotta shoot
I've
it down.
been looking at how to build a RoboCop gun. I've talked to my old man. Like I'm like, dude, I'm gonna buy a Taurus 92. Dad, we need to figure out how to make a RoboCop gun. Because it's based off of the whatever Beretta
93 replica.
Yeah, but like, so you could buy a Taurus with the frame-mounted safety that kind of looks the same, but like, I'm like, but I was telling my dad I want to build that because he knows I'm really nerding out about clone guns and stuff right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm about to lose my battery.
Yeah, well, we'll go ahead and wrap, man, because we've been going since 8:30. For me, it's 11. It's been a good stream, man. Yeah, I'm sure we're all gonna like put a dent in the porcelain here as soon as we close, because we've all been drinking fluids the whole time.
I'm only about four barley pops in, and so
there you go. There you go.
It's time for you to go to sleep.
I love it. Well, listen, thank you guys for doing this. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, man, had a good turnout. Lots of good topics. So before we go, Chris, where can people find you?
Yeah, guys, check me and my ragtag group of misfits that I have on my podcast, that Muffin Top Tactical podcast. You can find us Apple, Spotify, all the stuff. Find me on Instagram. We have guys like Matt. We have guys like Josh, my buddies that I travel around the country shooting with. We have people on all the time. We try to release every Tuesday and Thursdays, but I'm not getting paid a lot of money, and I still got to live my life. So give us some grace. We release whenever we can, and yeah, we love you guys. Like I've had a great time watching your guys' comments and stuff on the chat. Dude, you got Josh. You guys have an awesome community.
Oh man, they're great people. They're awesome. How about you, Matt? Where can people find you? They all know you, but where can people find
Wyoming
you?
Gun Project on YouTube. Well, in case somebody comes across this.
Yeah.
Wyoming Gun Project on YouTube, X, and Instagram.
Love it. Well, thank you guys for being here.
Yep.
And all right, everybody. We will see you on the next one.